It's showtime!
What is up, guys? Welcome to the Witchwood Card Dump. It's episode 39 of the Salty Dog Podcast. I'm Flash, he's Dookie, and we are your salty captains.
That was a nice intro that you were muted for. Is that what it was?
That was what it was, but you didn't have to say that. You didn't have to say that. You didn't have to. You didn't have to go there.
I think chat noticed.
I was very, I'm just still tilted by the whole fact that OBS just randomly decides not to capture my audio. And I literally didn't change anything, by the way, between when we first started the show and we were having music issues and now. But hey, life goes on.
Yeah, so we're here. OBS has this cool feature where things just stop working for no reason, and then it has this other cool feature where if you close it and then open it again, it's fixed for no reason.
Right. But hey, computers have always done that, right? It's just like, you have to turn them off, and they, what is it Bill Burr says, they figure out their idiocy.
They just have to regroup, somehow deal with your idiocy.
Yes, so that's what happened. Sorry about the tech difficulty at the beginning of this show, but yes, it's episode 39, and we've had a bunch of new Witchwood cards. Actually, not quite as many as I would have expected at this point. I thought that the first reveal stream was going to be more than 10 cards. I tuned in for it. I was there right on time. I was like, yeah, I'm sure this is going to go for like a solid hour, and it was like 20 minutes. They just like blew through the cards, and it was 10 cards. I was like, wow, that was really anticlimactic. But
it's kind of a good thing though, because I like it better when it's more spread out over our shows, because that way we don't have a 2-hour show where we're going over every single card that's been revealed.
But that's the thing though, is it's still inevitable, because at this point we've had 34 cards released. So, like, the big card dump is still coming.
That's true.
So, but, I mean, when that happens, we may not even hit on every single card. We might go through and just pick certain ones. But this time we have 24 cards to go through. So
yeah, that's
a decent number. And, like, there's going to be kind of like a bonus card thrown onto the end of the show, because right at about, I think, 10 or so, we should be getting a new card reveal, so we can throw that on the end. That'll be fun. But for the
breaking news,
it's gonna be awesome. So, but for this show, we're pretty much just gonna be doing card talk. There's not a lot of other stuff going on. We'll talk a little bit about the whole free packs thing going on, and the Tavern Brawl, which I'm really enjoying. I always kind of enjoy these, like, kind of troll fast brawls. But other than that, what have you been up to this week as far as ye old Hearthstone's concerned?
As you know, Gary was here visiting, so there were a few days where I didn't play, and I kind of forgot about the free packs thing.
Oh,
so I missed a couple.
Ooh, that hurts.
But what I have done is just some quests and some Tavern Brawl. I think I was doing all my quests in Tavern Brawl. Just because I'm not going to touch ladder with a 1 million foot pole right now.
Yeah, that's not a bad decision, because it's still just as much of a clown fiesta as it's ever been.
Yeah, it's not getting any better.
No, of course. I mean, why would it? Nothing's changed.
Yeah,
so,
nothing's changed.
So I've also been avoiding ladder like the plague, which brings me back to what I was saying about the Tavern Brawl. I'm actually really excited about this one, even though, like, it's just a total, like, it's a clown fiesta in and of itself, but at least it's a quick one. That's the thing about when there's Tavern Brawls, where if you like really understand the mechanics, or you look up a good deck or whatever, and it's one of these like insane just power level off the charts brawls, you can get through games like that, like just so fast. So and I find it kind of fun to do that just in general, but you can also, it's not like very profitable, but if you want to play some Hearthstone, you're sick of ladder and arena and stuff, you can grind out games with one of these like OTK Priest or Rogue decks so fast that you can actually start farming the 10 gold per 3 games gold if you wanted to. Like, you can get through 30 games of that Tavern Brawl in the same amount of time you can probably get through like 10 games of regular Hearthstone. So it actually becomes feasible to kind of grind that 100 gold a day that's you know, locked behind those 30 wins.
Yeah, that's a good use. Good use for a tavern brawl like that.
Yeah, and when I'm so fed up with every other mode, it actually is like, you know, pretty fun. Like, I have an insanely high win rate with this rogue deck that's just full of cycle, and there's just certain cards that are so good in it, right? Like silence is a little underrated, I think, in that. Like 1-mana spellbreakers, they just come down and, like, if your opponent's trying to kill you with like big questing adventurers or bone mares or whatever, that's all gone. Primordial Drake's super good. I think Rogue's particularly good because of the heavy cycle. All the 0-mana spells with 1-mana Auctioneers and 1-mana Minstrels, and like, oh, you can just do the most insane stuff. I've been doing the Faceless Manipulator to copy Malagos and kill them with Sinister Strikes. So
right.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun for me, and I've probably done probably about 9 wins or so today so far. Or not 9 wins.
Nice. 9 games?
No, I guess I'm trying to say I've gotten the quest reward gold for that like 3 or 4 times now. However, yeah, it's like 9 or 12 games or whatever. So, yeah, it's been fun. That's about the only thing I've really been having fun with.
Yeah, I was playing it a lot yesterday just to do my quests, and I started out with, I think I either had a Paladin quest or I just chose Paladin because I had win 3 with any class, and I was just like, well, I'll just try Paladin. And like, you know, there were a lot of cool things you could do, that like obvious things, like Tyrion's really good because you can get a 5/3 weapon super fast. You know, Bone Mares, Violet Worms, great. And it was just like, you know, I was playing those minions that are just like the kind of minions you know, have good death rattles or summon a bunch of crap or buff everything, whatever. And that was fun, and it just felt like a kooky version of Hearthstone, but I was still like kind of trading blows with people, and the games were taking a while. And I got like a good handful of wins under my belt, and then I just, every time I queued up, I'd run into an OTK rogue or priest deck, and there was just no way I could stand up to that, and I didn't want to make one of those or use one of those, so I just kind of
embrace the fuckery and just grind out games, just, you know, to finish quests for packs, or just to grind the daily quest gold, not daily quest gold, but the 3 wins gold that you can get 10 times a day, then it's worth it for that. But other than that, I mean, the free packs thing is awesome, of course. Actually, 2 of my pack rewards, I'm still like min-maxing the quests at this point. I'm not like dumping my quest log because I keep getting 40 gold quests. It's like so annoying. It's like, why is this the time when I keep getting the 40 gold quests? Because I'm
still get 40s?
Yeah, you do. At this point, you do. It's not going to fully switch over to 50s until I think the expansion hits. I think that's when we'll see that.
That makes sense.
So my log's been full like literally every day of 40 gold quests, but I'm still min-maxing and dropping because I can't not do that. But 2 of my packs so far have been Witchwood, so no immediate reward there or anything, but it's kind of cool to see that I have 72 packs of Witchwood cards to open.
Yeah,
which is
I haven't.
Awesome.
I've gotten 1 Witchwood pack, and that's with missing a couple days of the free pack. And that, honestly, that's, I mean, you know, a pack's a pack.
Yeah.
But the Witchwood packs are really what I'm interested in.
Right. Yeah, I mean, a pack generally equals 40 dust, right? So it doesn't really matter what, you know, ultimately in the long run, what packs you're getting, I guess, but it's still just more exciting to see, ooh, I got another Witchwood pack, you know, because we haven't opened this yet, so.
Yeah, and that's cards you don't have at all.
Exactly. So those are inherently worth more, of course.
Yeah.
But,
but yeah, that's been cool. The home screen is like the new year, ringing in the year of the Raven celebration.
Yes.
So it's all shiny, and there's confetti and ribbons and stuff.
Yeah, you never know if it's gonna be implemented into the client or not, or if you're just gonna log in and be like, I don't know what's happening. But this time they did.
Yeah, so that was cool. But yeah, that's all I've been doing. A little bit of Tavern Brawl quests just to get the free packs. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically where we are. We're all in Witchwood waiting room mode at this point. But, we said we were going to readdress this, like, when this event ends. It's going to be April 9th. And that's going to be the day that you want to make sure you dump your whole quest log, finish every quest, so you don't miss out on any of those packs. I'd do it early too, because you never know like at what point it's going to switch, like you know, especially if you're not in the Pacific time zone, like everything's a little different. On our end, it's going to be earlier there, and it might be past midnight or whenever the bewitching hour when the event's going to end is. So just do it early.
Yeah,
get them packs.
Get them. Yeah, you should probably clear it out on the 8th, and then on the 9th, if you get another one that's going to give you a new pack, then do it. But yeah,
definitely.
So yeah, 4/9, it's over.
I don't know when the pre-order of the new expansion is going to end either, but if you're still thinking about doing that, there is the 20 extra bonus packs, which is the thing that pushed me over the edge. Like, I was kind of on the fence about it, mainly just because I am, like, in the process of buying a condo and, like, money is tight and everything right now, but I was like, now you've won me over, I have to do it now. Like, they offered me 20 of nothing. To 20 extra of literally nothing, and I was like, now you got me. But
20 virtual pieces of paper.
But it's always best to use the Amazon coins if you're going to do that too. So I spent $45 on the $50 worth of Amazon coins, got 70 packs. That's like the most insane, like the lowest per pack Hearthstone cards have ever been. So yeah, I'll have to assess my finances, I guess maybe, you know, in April, the beginning of April, because I do want to do it because that's such a sweet deal. And since this is the first expansion of a year, it's going to be around longer. Yes.
It's
it'll be around for 2 full years rather than like the middle expansion is a year and like 9 months or something. Yeah. And then the last expansion is the shortest amount of time. Yeah,
it's like a year and 4. So Cobalt and Catacombs will only be around for a year and 4 months.
Yeah. So it actually ends up being kind of a big difference between the first set and the last set. So
yeah, you'll be. I mean, think about like what was the first set of 2017? Was it Gadgetzan?
Old Gods.
Or Old Gods.
Old Gods.
Was it Old Gods? Yeah. I feel like Old Gods has been around forever.
Yeah, I mean, just like N'Zoth being a thing, it feels like my entire standard career has been like a N'Zoth, you know, like N'Zoth's been playable or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not
sorry, I meant first expansion of 2016.
Yes.
Because 2017, the first expansion was on Goro.
Right, yeah. I didn't even catch that's what you had said. I thought, you had meant 2016.
But yeah, anyway, well, my point is the oldest ones feel like they've been around for freaking ever.
Yes.
So,
yes, I agree. And what was the last set of that year? It was Karazhan, and then
because Karazhan's in there somewhere. That must have been
Mean Streets.
Mean Streets, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? I've honestly been thinking, like, wow, is Dragonfire Potion and Pine Size Potion, like, these cards are already leaving? Like, it does feel like there's a big difference there.
Yeah, I don't feel like I've been suffering under the oppression of Dragonfire Potion for as long as I have N'Zoth, you know? And
Pine Size Potion and Shadow Word Horror both gone, by the way. One of the most potent board wipes of like our time. So
praise be.
You don't know what they're being replaced with yet, though. So I don't know how excited I'd be yet. But anyway, we got, like I said, 24 cards to talk about today. So let's go ahead and just get right into it. Gonna go to our news segment.
What's happening?
Gadgets and Gazette always gets the scoop.
Time is money, friend. Keep it quick, kid. I ain't got all day.
All right, we're going to go ahead and start with neutral cards first, and then we'll just go in alphabetical class order after that. But actually, most of the cards today are neutrals. So starting with Ravencaller, 3-mana 2/1 common neutral minion with Battle Cry, add 2 random 1-cost minions to your hand. So obviously, like 3-mana 2/1, that's like pretty bad when you can compare this to a lot of the 3-drops, which are at least 3/3 worth of stats, even if they draw you a card like Curious Glimmerroot does.
Yeah.
So pretty understated. The 2 1-drops, I mean, 1-drops can be pretty powerful. You could even get, you know, like a Firefly and then get like another thing.
Yeah, sure.
Or like, you know, some kind of abusable 1-drop minion like Northshire Cleric if your class has access to healing, or...
Yeah.
In general, though, huh?
What I compare this to is Drygulch Jailer.
Okay.
Which is a 3-mana 1/1 that adds
pretty
3...
sure Drygulch is 2.
No, I'm pretty sure Drygulch Jailer's 3 mana.
Is he? Let's see.
Drygulch, we're gonna look it up real quick.
Yes.
He is 2.
Okay, that's what I thought. So,
all right. So that, and I was going to say, well, Drygulch Jailer is perfectly playable.
Yeah.
At least because Dude Paladin, you know, there's synergy with Silverhand Recruits. So this being 1 more mana, 1 less minion, even though it's a 2/1,
yeah,
pretty bad. That might be a 2-star.
Yeah, I think this is an arena card, personally. Like, I can't even imagine a constructed deck that would use this card. I mean, you'd have to have some of the most insane synergy with 1-drop minions, and I don't think that the Shaman, new Shaman hero card, Hagatha, is going to be the thing that makes this playable either, which is something I've seen going around. But, yeah, I feel like this is just, like, a decent draft card. Like, it might show up in one of your, like, worst picks, and, you know, it's just kind of, like, value. So, in general, it's kind of lackluster.
Yeah, pretty lackluster.
Yeah, two stars. Unless you're talking about arena, then it's, like, decent, like a 3.
Yeah.
So...
Shogun HS brings up a good point. It does have Hunter Quest synergy.
That's true, but I would be surprised if the Hunter Quest actually ends up being a playable thing.
It's
but I guess
gonna take more than this,
yeah,
to make it playable. But you know, this is a building block, so
yep. Definitely something to I mean, you never know. We could be coming back and like, look at our Ravencaller review, 2-star card. But this is a perfect thing to compare it to, though, at a 3 slot. It's called the Blackwalled Pixie. 3 mana, 3/4. So really solid stats. I mean, we remember back in the day, I mean, there was mech synergy to it, but people used Spider Tank just because it's a 3 mana 3/4, basically.
Yep. Yeah, it was the first one. So
yeah, and this has a decent battle cry, which is to refresh your hero power. Obviously, even though it doesn't say like you have to have an odd deck, I think this is pretty specifically targeted at odd decks, especially since they're going to have upgraded hero powers.
Yeah.
But this doesn't necessarily... I honestly think that this really won't end up seeing play because refreshing your hero power in a odd cost deck is still going to be... like your hero power still costs 2. Like, yeah, it's better, but it still costs 2. So to hero power, use this to get a reactivation. Hero power again is a 7 mana combo for 2 hero powers in a 3/4, which pretty sure there's probably going to be more powerful things you can do on 7 than that. Maybe it's just like a decent minion for tempo, but at that still, this might be some sort of combo enabler with like the Uther DK trying to OTK you with the little, you know, Horsemen of Death or whatever.
Yeah, the 4 Horsemen.
Yeah, in general though, I don't think this is fantastic.
Well, this card's a lot like Beardo. He was a 3 mana 3/4. And Beardo was whenever you cast a spell, refresh your hero power.
Yeah, but I feel like Beardo was 4, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, he was on curve. He was 3 mana 3/4.
Was he? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So
but Beardo was better,
comparable.
right? Because all you had to do was cast a spell, and you could do it over and over again. So they could do it with coins.
You didn't have to do it all in one turn. If you did run this in the even cost deck, the investment is 5 mana. So
yeah,
that's you know,
you can't run a
cheaper.
3-drop in the even cost deck.
Oh yes, you're right. Wow.
So basically, I feel like its home would end up in an odd deck or in like the Uther DK trying to OTKU deck if that somehow ends up being possible. But in general, it's probably just a little
Yeah, I agree. It's a combo enabler, if anything. And it's going to be good in Arena. You're always going to want to grab this guy because that's just a good body.
Oh, yeah, this is a fantastic Arena card. I mean, Arena, even without an upgraded hero power, is a mode where you want to be able to get extra value off your hero power.
Yeah, definitely. I give it 3.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Like, there might be, you know, a deck that just really needs a decent body on 3 to, like, fight off aggression, like, could potentially just use this just as a vanilla thing with the potential to get a little extra value out of it, depending on when they draw it. But
yeah,
in general, just, like, kind of interesting. Moving on to another card that's super similar to the last one. It's a 3-mana 3/4. But it's got a new tribe, if you can call it that, I guess. It's the tribe all, and its text tells you exactly what that means. It's everything. It's an elemental, mech, demon, murloc, dragon, beast, pirate, and totem. Everything that we've had so far up to this point. And you can see all of those things in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where I wonder where the pirate is. Is he wearing a pirate hat?
Yeah, no, he has a patch over his eye. A very small patch. Yeah.
And the pirate hat, I think.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. The pirate hat and the patch. His face is an elemental. His back is a murloc. His wings are the demon.
Demon, yeah.
One of his feet is a totem. The other arm is a mech. He kind of has, like, dinosaur-like feet and tail, which is probably the beast. And let's see. Oh, and the dragon, I think, honestly, is really just the horn? The dragon's kind of, I feel like, the hardest thing to really get from it.
Yeah. This is an interesting card. I mean, you know, 3-mana 3/4, solid body, and then it's just like whatever tribe you're running, he synergizes. But I think this is going to be awesome in Arena.
Oh yeah. It's really good for Arena because it's so hard to get your synergies in Arena. Yeah.
Exactly. But, you know, it doesn't do anything for it's whatever tribe your deck is running. So it's just kind of an average card that might get a buff or something. But I don't know if there's some tribe that would like work if it was if it had like more of a card base to pick from. This guy could just be like filler.
Yeah. The thing that jumps to my mind first above any of them is that I think the dragon synergy is the only thing that might be something that you would even consider this for. Like, I'm thinking of like a priest deck, like whether it's an odd priest or not, you know, because this is an odd cost card. So if you're trying to run, like, maybe if priest gets like some decent like odd cost dragons and you just need some better, like, you know, some more fluff for the deck to activate them. Or even if you were trying to run something like a dragon version of the spiteful priest or something. I'm not sure why. Like, there's no reason at this point to do that because like all the OP dragon stuff's rotating out. It's almost like BlackRock 2.0 is leaving. Like we're losing Draconid Operative and like all those really cool dragon things. Yeah. But we're still gonna have like Primordial Drake and I can never remember his name, the kobold that swaps his attack with something, which is also a really powerful priest card.
I can't remember either.
Yeah, I can never remember his name. So
Dragon
I don't know.
makes sense because it's less about like give all your dragons plus whatever, and it's more about do you just have a dragon in your hand?
Exactly. That's why it stands out to me.
Yeah, that does make sense. I'd probably give it 3 stars. You know.
Yeah, I guess I would go with that too, just because I feel like there's a potential that like just to have a decent body on board at 3, but mainly to have an extra activator. This could find some random niche, some little niche somewhere.
I definitely
2.5.
definitely see potential, and then just this is a monster in Arena. So
yeah, definitely. All right. Up next, another interesting little neutral minion. It's called the Clockwork Automaton. It's a 5-mana 4/4 mech. We're seeing more mechs than we've seen in most sets, kind of poking their heads back out. So his static ability while he's on the board is double the damage and healing of your hero power. So a 5-mana 4/4, just awful, you know, stats. I mean, you want really at least a 5/5, and sometimes you can even do better than that. And doubling the damage of your and healing of your hero power. For 5 mana, and then you get 1 hero power. So again, we're looking at a 7 mana combo for an understated minion. And like, if you're running an odd deck, like, you know, in mage or something, yeah, you can fire blast something for 4 or heal your face for 8 or something. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. It's probably gonna die. It doesn't contest the board at 5. I feel like this is pretty much just doomed to not really do anything. Like, this isn't even like something you would really pick up in Arena, I don't think.
Nah, the stats are just too sad, and not every class even benefits from that ability. So
correct. Which is weird that they made it a neutral minion. It's like, oh, double the damage of your totems and shaman, you know, like.
Yeah,
so
well,
funny.
if you're a warlock, you're going to be smacking yourself in the face for 4 every time you draw a card.
So here's what you do. Here's what you do with this card. You draft it in Arena, in a Priest Arena. Then you get the card that Priest can get to give your opponent a minion and draw 3 cards. That's like their crazy Arena card that they got. So you get those 2 cards, you play them, you give the Warlock the Clockwork Automaton, and then they have to life tap for 4. That's how you do it.
There you go. That's, yep.
I found the combo, guys.
That's the combo. Yeah, okay, so if anything, this goes with that Glimmering Pixie or whatever it was called, the one that refreshes your hero power. I think in probably an odd deck that's trying to pull off some crazy combo, or I don't even know.
It's just too
like,
high mana cost.
It's
It's not a combo enabler at 5 mana. You know,
it's so clunky. Yeah, I would honestly one Salt Shaker.
Yeah, I mean, if this was like comparable to the Velen effect, double the damage and healing of your spells in hero power, then we were talking. Like, then we're like looking at a completely abusable combo piece. But hero powers just aren't strong enough, especially not at 5 mana to enable, you know, a slight boost. So I have to agree.
Although the Hunter hero power upgraded is 3 damage, so this makes it 6.
That's true. So is 5 mana for a 4/4 plus 2 mana on a hero power to deal 6 to the face? Is that good enough? Maybe. I mean, 6 damage to the face is quite a bit of damage. So,
and they're like, sorry, I'm stammering. We don't know what's coming out. We don't know if there's going to be things to like discount your hero power a whole lot, or
that's true too. So we better leave that window open so we can crawl out. So,
like I said, possibly combo enabler, but in a vacuum, like probably 1 or 2 Salt Shakers.
Yeah, it needs something like a mana discount on the hero power, or, you know, an effect like Thaurissan discounting stuff in your hand to enable some shenanigans with this. Then it would be possible.
Yeah, definitely a combo piece.
Yeah,
more than anything.
You know, what would have like been decent with it is another kind of shittier card, but the fencing coach. Like, you could throw the fencing coach down and like have a saved up free hero power, and like throw him out and like hero power it for free. I don't know. Now
that's a cool use for fencing coach, but he's not around.
Nope. He's gone.
That's what I liked fencing coach for that reason, because with the Inspire synergy, it was always like, oh, I have to wait till I have more mana so I can, you know, inspire the turn I play the thing. Yeah. But with him, you got a free hero power, you know, when you put out your Inspire. Anyway, so, you know, there's potential. Who knows? This could end up being a crucial part of some psycho hunter deck that just builds a combo and then blasts your face off, and you know, you're done.
6 damage is not insignificant as far as closing out the game. So
click a button and fireball them, like, that's pretty good.
Well, not quite just click a button. I mean, you got to play this guy first, but definitely 6 damage is pretty good. So I don't know, maybe face damage hunter in some weird way with an odd deck. All right, moving on.
I'll stick with two Salt Shakers. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I agree. So, moving on to Muck Hunter, we have a 5 mana 5/8 Rush. But of course, he does something negative for such an overstated minion. He battle cries to summon 2/2/1 Mucklings for your opponent. So this is really similar to Leroy Jenkins in a lot of ways. He's 5 mana, he kind of has a charge effect, and he summons things to, you know, strengthen your opponent's board. I'm super torn on this.
I am too.
A 5/8 is really strong. There's no denying that. But giving your opponent anything is obviously bad, and depending on the type of deck, it could be abusable. You know, those 2/1s could end up being more of a threat than you initially intended, and something like a token druid or, you know, paladins can buff their minions as well. But that being said, I could definitely see this find a home in a deck that's very comfortable doing AoE. Warrior comes to mind, with Whirlwind effects and the new Warpath card, and it even is a pretty decent thing to throw down into a brawl. You know, summoning extra things on your opponent's board so that they have less of a chance of keeping like a stronger minion is good. And there's also, of course, you know, MC Tech synergy there too. So that's
true. This with MC Tech is pretty solid.
For a great statted minion, I think you could work him into something like a little, like 2 or 3, like mainly a 2-card combo. I feel like, you know, this and MC Tech, this plus Whirlwind, or, you know, something like that.
Yeah, I think there's something there. Like there's a lot of ways you can look at this guy. Like, okay, so baseline, you summon this minion, you get a 5/8, your opponent gets 2 2/1s, and you decide to kill one of the 2/1s with a 5/8. Well, congrats, you just played a 5-mana 5/6 and gave your opponent a 2/1. So it's a worse pit fighter.
Yes, that's bad.
So you never want to do that. But I think there's a board state, you know, where throwing out a 5/8 and then rushing to attack something. I mean, this thing's no slouch. Like 5 power on 5 mana is good. And rushing to, you know, take out a threat and still have health to spare on this guy.
Yeah, you know, the thing that always comes to mind for me is you can't underestimate, like, the minions that aren't necessarily in and of themselves, like, a threat because of their power level, like, as far as their, like, attack and health, but minions that are a threat by being on the board. And, like, by cards like this, I mean, like, Gadget's and Auctioneer, and, like, Fandral Staghelm, like these minions that if you leave them stuck to the board are just going to wreak absolute havoc on you. This is like pretty decent removal, like snap removal in a situation like that. So
yeah, and then you still have a body there.
Exactly, exactly.
So yeah, I think it would have to be a deck that's comfortable with dealing with those 2/1s. Probably more of a control, maybe even tempo though, because this is a very like high tempo play.
It's definitely it's such a dichotomy. It's just like a really hard card.
It is.
To like think about how it's going to work, because Rush is inherently a board control centric mechanic, because it comes out so that it can attack something on board to give you a leg up on your opponent, but it's also summoning your opponent a better board. So it's really hard to say. I like optimistically would give this a 3, just on the off chance that some deck has a combo that can abuse this.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Optimistic 3.
Yeah.
Maybe more of a realistic 2.
Yeah, maybe more of that, but still definitely like a decent, you know, there's little combos in there, just like off the top of my head, you know, off the top of our heads we came up with a couple, and you know, there's bound to be somebody out there that finds some kind of crazy thing to do with this.
Yeah, exactly.
But definitely, like, that's one of the more creative cards I think that's been revealed so far.
Yeah, I like it. It's interesting, even if it's not clearly awesome. It's definitely interesting.
Right. So up next, another neutral minion. We have the Rotten Apple Bomb, which is a 5-mana 4/5 taunt, death rattle, restore 4 health to your hero. The first thing that pops into my head as a comparable card is Second Rate Bruiser, which was a 5-mana 4/5. I mean, he's still playable right now, but won't be after the rotation, and he's discounted if you're a 2/3 mana if your opponent has at least 3 minions. And he was always run because, I mean, he's mainly an arena card. Like, you don't really see him in constructed decks, period.
You used to.
Right. Yeah, he might have popped his head into a couple.
Yeah.
But the main thing about it was that he ended up being cheatable. Like, you could cheat him out. And this card, like, I don't know. I feel like I see this card and I'm like, yes, like more taunt death rattle for N'Zoth decks, but who's rotating out? It's N'Zoth.
Seeing N'Zoth.
I mean, the 4 health to your hero is decent. It's not like incredible or anything. Paying for kind of an understated 5-drop. You know, you're using the Death Rattle synergy with N'Zoth. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see this as being anything that's gonna, you know, make waves. Because, you know, 4 health, is that, you know, what's that really worth?
4, and what would you 4 health to your hero. Yeah.
What would you pay for a 4/5 taunt? Like 4 mana?
Right, because I mean, you know, everything. I feel like taunt minions are so grounded around Tez Dingo, right? That Sen'jin Shieldmaster, which is a 4 mana 3/5. So for 2 more, for 1 more mana, all we're really doing is getting the extra attack on there and the 4 health to the
and so I guess
player. So I don't know, in that aspect it's decent, but I don't know, just like basing it off of other taunt cards that have made it into constructed decks, it doesn't seem that powerful to me.
I agree. If anything, it'll just be like a, you know, a mana curve, you know, slot for some deck that needs
odd decks.
For odd decks. So,
maybe if there is a super control-y taunt based odd druid deck that runs Hadronox, this fits into that, because you get that sort of N'Zoth effect that you really want on a card like this through Hadronox. So, and
he's a tree, so that works.
I mean, it's very druid to be a tree.
I don't know, this I'd say probably 2.5 salt shakers on this one. It's not like, it's not terrible. It's just not, it doesn't do too much.
I do see like potential like slot filling in certain archetypes or whatever. Even if this just kind of becomes a staple in odd decks, because odd decks are going to have such a restricted card pool, this could end up going a long way to enabling odd decks.
I agree. Because they are going to have very limited options. So
I'll give it again an optimistic 3.
It's decent.
So moving on. We're done with the neutral minions and we're on to Druid now, and we're starting off with a real doozy here. Forest Guide, which is a 4 mana 1/6, and at the end of your turn, both players draw a card. So this is weird. I mean, the only thing I can really think of is what they're going for is some sort of fatigue druid, which is some kind of thing that druids become more known for recently. Fatigue druid is like a really big thing on ranked wild ladder, but I just don't think that this is any sort of replacement for a card like Cold Light Oracle.
Nah, definitely not.
I mean, obviously it has the potential to force your opponent to draw more than 2 cards, but a 1/6 is so bad.
What does that do?
The tradability of this card is non-existent at 4 mana. So, you know, if you're playing this, like, imagine playing this down against one of the most rampant deck archetypes that there is right now, Dude Paladin. They want to draw more cards, and they don't give a fuck about your 1/6. So, like...
I think... I don't even see, like, how this could get enabled by other cards.
Right.
Like,
and, like...
that could potentially come out in this set. Like, it just seems so bad.
So easy to draw with Druid. Like, you draw off Nourish, you draw off Ultimate Infestation, 5 cards off of Ultimate Infestation. Like, your Wild Growths turn into card draw in late game. Like, does Druid really need, like, is Druid really benefiting from this? I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see it with this card. So.
Your opponent also gets to use their card first.
It's at the end of your turn, so they're accelerated first. So I don't know. Honestly, I'm gonna go ahead and just give this a 1. I really don't think, like, I will be shocked if this ends up enabling some sort of thing, because card draw is not like a rare ability. It's not like doubling the power of your spells or something. Like, card draw is almost like a dime a dozen in Druid. You know, it's not. It just doesn't strike me. Is any
I mean, look at Acolyte of Pain, who's a 3-mana 1/3. He comes out sooner. Only you draw, and you can get a few cards out. You actually want to trade with Acolyte of Pain. Even
That's what makes me think this has to be targeted at fatigue, because like, I don't know, maybe you run this along with the thing that doubles end of turn effects, so that you are getting 2 cards a turn, like, accelerated on your opponent. But, like, as long as there's, like, a half-decent aggro deck that can just beat your ass if you're giving them more cards, then, I don't know. I just don't see it.
Yeah, same. One Salt Shaker.
One. Oh, well, I did this a little out of order. We have another neutral minion popping up here, which is the Scale Worm. 4-mana 4/4 beast with Battle Cry. If you're holding a dragon, so think back to Nightmare Amalgam, gain +1 attack and rush. So you're not putting this in a deck where it's not like 98% of the time enabled, right? Like, this is going to be in a deck that it's enabled in. So we're looking really at a 4-mana 5/4 beast with rush. Which that's pretty freaking good, honestly.
That's not bad, yeah. I mean,
I think this is one of the more powerful neutral minions that we've seen. 5 power on turn 4 and 4 health, like, that's more than likely going to be able to take out something and keep ticking, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, he probably will trade and then get traded into and die if your opponent has like a decent board, but that's still kind of a 2-for-1. So
even if your opponent is forced to hero power it off the board, like, you've eaten a card and some of their mana on the next turn.
It's good tempo. And the fact that it's got the beast tag means that maybe it'll fit into Hunter or Druid. Hunter primarily, because but you do have to be holding a dragon. But they did just get a dragon, so which we will discuss later.
We will talk about that thing, but yeah, no, a Scale Worm. I don't know. Like, the dragons have almost just become synonymous with priest in my head. So I'm sitting here thinking about, like, whether it's an even priest or just a regular priest deck with dragon synergy. And priest really likes this card quite a bit because priest has a hard time with removal that's outside of, like, pain and death sort of mechanics. Priest can heal their minions, which is pretty good for having, like, a board-centric removal like Rush. So, I don't know. I could see this doing something.
Yeah, I could too. I think it'll find a home somewhere. These neutral minions are always so, like, middle of the road. I just want to, like, slap a 3-star on everything and just be like, they might see play, they might not. It just depends, which is always the case. But I see some potential.
I really do see some potential. I don't want to go all the way to 4, so I think I'm going to settle at about 3.5. But I've got pretty high hopes for this card. Yeah,
I think
it's going to become a pretty regularly drafted card in Arena as well.
Oh, hell yeah!
Yeah. So.
Yeah, you're not even sad about a 4-mana 4/4 in Arena. No, and if you get the activation, then like, you can grab this in Arena before you ever see a dragon, and just be like, well, if it ends up just being a 4/4, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Right, it's not like Netherspite Historian where you're stuck with a 2-mana 1/3 without dragon synergy. So yeah, I agree. All right, moving on, back to Druid. We have the Witchwood Apple, which is 2 mana to add 3 2/2 Trents to your hand.
2 mana.
2 mana, and you add 3 2/2 Trents to your hand that each cost 2. So we're looking at 8 mana total to summon this entire thing. 2/2s aren't great, and you're looking at the earliest you're going to be able to play at least one of them is turn 3, because you're paying 2 mana for this.
What's that Druid card where they all used to have charge?
Force of Nature.
That's Force of Nature. How much is that now? 6 for 3?
I think Force of Nature is 5, but you know what? We've been looking up card costs.
Yeah.
all day already. So let's see what it costs. So Force of Nature is 5. So 5 mana to summon 3/2/2 Trents directly onto the board.
So what on earth is the upside to having them go into your hand and having it be 8 mana? Like, I don't know. It just seems so stupid.
I think we should go ahead and look at the next card. I'm not saying that it justifies this card at all, but we can get a glimpse at what they're looking at going towards with Druid. So we have Whispering Woods, a 4 mana spell that summons a 1/1 Wisp for each card in your hand. So now we're looking at a mechanic potentially for Druid that synergizes with the amount of cards in your hand. And I do,
Druid.
Yeah, and I do remember specifically one thing that they were talking about at the card reveals live stream when they brought up these two cards was synergy with cards like I think it's Mountain Giant. Yeah, Mountain Giant is the one that is discounted by cards in your hand. So yeah, we're literally talking about some sort of hand druid type thing.
Yeah.
Which is obviously like pretty strange.
Well, you know, a lot of, obviously that's going to be a control deck. It's not going to be an odd deck if it's running Whispering Woods.
Or the Apple, Witchwood Apple is 2 mana. So we're looking at an even type archetype.
Or just
yeah.
Whatever, it could just be a normal deck.
Yeah, it could just be a normal deck. I mean, we're just like, you know, we're not saying that everything has to fit into an even or odd archetype. It's just, I think it's worth it now that we know about Baku and Greymane to just talk about like whether or not they might fit into something like that, if those decks are even going to be a thing. I see this more as just like in a straight up token druid deck, but I feel like they already have better tools. Like there's almost nothing better for an onboard druid token deck than the living mana, and I really don't think that this is like really a great replacement for that. I mean, it is 4 mana, so you can get it out earlier. If you manage to get a big hand, you could potentially do something there.
Right. Well, what I was going to say about the Witchwood Apple was, you know, control decks typically in the early game have some pretty slow turns. They're not necessarily trying to tempo out threats.
Yeah,
they're more so just trying to, you know, deal with threats as efficiently as possible. And when you've got something on 2 mana that's going to fill your hand, which is going to enable these other big hand druid cards, that you can just play when you don't really have anything else to play.
Right. Yes.
You know, on a slower control turn early game. That could be the benefit if this hand druid thing actually has the cards to take off. So
yeah, I totally agree with you. And the big keyword there is if. Basically, like Mountain Giant and Whispering Woods are not getting it there. Like there's got to be more. Like more of Druid's cards have got to be geared towards a benefit based off of what your hand size is. So
yeah, definitely. So. You know, who knows how powerful these will be if the deck is there. But in a vacuum, the Apple, I don't know, 1 Salt Shaker. This card, 2 Salt Shakers.
Yes, yeah, essentially, yeah. Without seeing anything that enables like a decent power boost from this kind of thing, then yes, in a vacuum, these cards look pretty dismal.
Yeah.
So moving on, that's it for Druid so far, and we have now Hunter with Houndmaster Shaw. 4 mana 3/6, so Priest of the Feast stats, and your other minions have Rush is his static ability. So as long as he's on the board, every minion you play can attack other minions immediately when they are played. This is
decent?
Yeah, I give it a big decent as well. I mean, obviously Rush is a super good mechanic as far as like maintaining board control. He's got survivable stats.
He does.
Your opponent's not always going to be able to deal with this immediately, which is going to be a big thing because he's not going to be easily paired alongside other minions to get the effect immediately. So you're almost looking at, first of all, he's legendary, so you got 1 copy, so you've got to have him in your hand. You're going to want him early, you're going to want to try to stick him and then get the value on the following turn. I think that's a lot of what-ifs. You know, it's a lot of ifs.
It is. He's probably a 3 Salt Shaker tops.
Yeah, yeah. He might even be like, okay, so got to be careful here, treading on thin ice. This definitely reeks of something that could be abused with something.
Oh, absolutely.
Basically, this is some kind of a combo enabler, but in and of himself, without some sort of like shenanigans to go alongside of it to abuse that effect, it's just okay. It's almost like, it reminds me of Professor Putricide, which was another card that I overrated, because I'm like, he's a 4-mana 5/4, and he's good, and he just has like a good ability attached to him, and that's exactly what we're looking at here. But Professor Putricide never sees play at all, and I feel like they're actually pretty decent cards to compare. Same mana slot, and the fact that they need to be comboed, but it's not easy to do.
Right.
So
he is more survivable than
that's
Putricide.
the best thing that it has going for it.
Yeah. Well, you know, and with Rush, you're not setting up an OTK with Rush.
No.
So as a combo, no, as a combo enabler, this is really just like, you know, win the board kind of. That's, you know, that's your combo, that's your end goal.
Yeah, exactly. So
all your stuff having Rush is never a bad thing, and his stats are competitive. You know, 9 total stats for 4 mana. It's basically the most you ever see.
Yep.
But yeah, it's probably just like a middle of the road kind of card.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. It's honestly kind of hard to see like a constructed deck that would really be stoked about having this, because it doesn't help you kill your opponent at all. You know, that's
exactly.
That's the main problem.
I mean, a Savannah Highmane coming out and smashing into whatever you want, and then, you know, the puppies come out. They're like, that's, and then they can run into what, like, that's great. But will he live that long?
But what if there was like a cheap Echo minion with Rush, like that benefited from having Rush, and you could just like run a bunch of stuff, like run them into a bunch of stuff. Oh wait, there is. It's called Hunting Mastiff, and it already has Echo and Rush. So, 2-mana 2/1 beast with Echo and Rush, Hunting Mastiff. Definitely a pretty interesting card. The Echo obviously is what makes this card attractive. Being able to, you know, save this up to a turn where you have a bunch of mana. The card already comes attached with Rush, so this is almost just kind of like comparable in a way to Unleash the Hounds. Basically just using a turn. Obviously it requires a lot more mana, but it's also more flexible in that way, each of them having 2 attack and such, to just take out your opponent's board with these doggos.
Yeah. This could definitely find a home somewhere. I don't think it's inherently amazing.
Right.
But yeah, flexibility is always nice. You know, a 2-mana 2/1 charge is Bluegill Warrior. So, and, you know, going face with Bluegill Warrior is not like a winning strategy or anything.
No.
So, I mean, the fact that this is basically the same card and has the potential to be played a whole bunch in one turn and then, you know, trade up as much as you can. Definitely decent. There's
it
something...
doesn't strike me as like super crazy or anything, but I definitely think that because of the flexibility of Echo in like a more mid-rangey, even tending a little bit more towards a hunter that's geared towards the late game, this is a pretty, like, you know, attractive card to think about using.
Yeah,
just
I agree.
Maintain that board control.
I'd probably say 3 stars.
Yeah, I might even want to go a little higher, but yeah, 3 stars. 3 sounds.
3 salt shakers.
3 sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely these Echo cards, like, I gotta say that I don't feel like any of them are terribly interesting. The Echo mechanic so far, I think the most interesting thing we've seen is the Rogue Legendary, where you're battle crying to get a legendary into your hand. Like, that's, like, you know, a pretty fun and, like, cool effect. But generally speaking, the Echo cards we've seen, they're either just taunts or, you know, like this one has Rush. Like, they're kind of, like, boring.
Yeah, they're pretty vanilla. Like, what if there was an Echo Legendary?
Right?
That'd be pretty cool. Like, well, you know, more than one of the guy, whoever he is.
Right. All right, let's see what the Hunter Legendary is, though, here. It is Dragon,
yes.
and you mentioned this earlier, talking about whether or not, like, Scale Worm might get played in Hunter. So Emerus is a 10-mana, 8/8 dragon that battle cries to double the attack and health of all minions in your hand. And we add this to the pile of unplayable Hunter Legendaries. Rip Emerus before you even got a start.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to pay 10 mana for an 8/8. That's for damn sure.
Hell no.
And by the time you know you're on 10 mana, your hand's probably empty. Just knowing Hunter. I mean, if we're talking a slower, more control-oriented Hunter, that's looking to get some completely bananas threats on the board, by doubling their attack and health. Maybe some deck will come out of the woodwork.
Maybe.
To abuse this.
I just, oh my god, at 10 mana with no immediate effect on the board, it's really hard to imagine the world where, like, okay, and Hunter is not going to have any way to cheat this out, at least where it will actually trigger its effect. If there's some way to, like, recruit it out of the deck or something, which they don't currently have access to begin with, it's not going to battle cry. You're looking at having to play this from your hand, with no mana cost discount that we've seen so far. I could see this getting played in a Druid quest deck where Barnabas can make him 0. Sure. But that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Yeah. So I don't know. I really can't see the world in like, I don't think it currently exists. Like, if there's going to be a card that's printed now, like later in this set or in a future set, but like right now, I just don't even see a world where he can do anything.
Yeah, well, this is how we create a godlike meta deck, is by predicting that a card won't do shit.
Right.
But that's how we single-handedly caused Q block to happen, because we looked at every single one of those cards and said, this is garbage, this will never see play.
Emerus Hunter incoming. They're going to play they're somehow going to live, like, they're just going to have infinite survivability. They're going to play this and make their King Crushes 16/16s. And
there you go. There you go. That's, yeah. You figured it out. You cracked the code.
I just don't think, I think it's too much mana. Like, I can't imagine you surviving to this point and actually being able to play a 10 mana 8/8 and then get value off of him later. Like, seems pretty insane to me. But,
yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna give him a 2. I think he's probably gonna be unplayable.
Yeah, two salt shaker.
I'm gonna bump it up from 1 just because there is definite abuse ability there. Like, double it, that's a huge effect. That's something that you could abuse if you could find a way. So.
Giants, if there's a way for them to.
That's true. Giants for free. You might be onto something there.
Yeah.
Giants. You heard it first here. Giants Hunter.
Yep.
Hey, discovering copies of Giants with Stitch Tracker. They already do it in Wild. But they cheat out those Giants on turn 5 in Wild, so...
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Emerus's future is unclear, but let's look at the Vex Crow from Mage. I'm pretty sure this is the only Mage card we have today, which is a 4-mana 3/3 beast. A lot of beasts in this set. I don't necessarily think that means that other classes are going to get beast synergy. I think they may even stated that it's mostly for flair. Just the fact that we're in a forest and there's going to be beasts there.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't make a robot a mech and you don't make a bird a beast, then you're stupid.
What are you even doing?
Yeah.
And if you don't make skeletons undead, then oh wait.
Oh right.
All right. So anyway, Vex Crow, 4-mana 3/3. Whenever you cast a spell, summon a random 2-cost minion. So we have like a mini, like a Atish sort of effect here, or summoning zone sort of effect. Only it doesn't matter what the cost of the spell is. It's always going to be a 2-drop. So obviously, if this was going to see any play, it would be to combo it with cheap spells.
Yeah. I don't think this is very good.
It doesn't strike me as super good right off the bat, like, unless we see, like, some really great, like, mage 1-drop spells, or, like, a lot of synergy with, like, firing off a lot of spells, like, cheap spells like we've seen in Mage before, like, in the Flame Waker days. This is no Flame Waker,
No.
You know, the reward is nowhere near as good for like jamming your deck full of like mirror entities and arcane missiles and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I guess with Sorcerer's Apprentice on turn 3, this on turn 4, you can actually start, you know, cranking those spells out for free. But yeah, this doesn't really strike me as a great card.
Yeah, I mean, making a big board of 2-drops is not necessarily great. It just gets, you know, wiped out. I mean, we're already talking about being on 4+ mana crystals, so access to pretty much every board wipe in the game is becoming a reality. So I don't really see what a board created by Vexcro necessarily is gonna like really do that much for you.
Yeah, I agree.
Whereas, you know, like comboing all those spells off Flamewaker on 1 less mana, you were getting you were clearing your opponent's board and simultaneously getting some face damage in. So it's just not, it doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah, I might have to say two salt shakers on this one.
Yeah, it doesn't
just say
it doesn't feel, you know, it's not like immediate of enough effect. Yeah, you get like a decent board if you've got the spells to play, but like, does it even come around to being able to be used? I don't know. Yeah,
it's just kind of a weak minion. So it's, you know, bad tempo, and then who knows, you know, you really honestly can't even play it out on curve, you know, without some spells to go along with it. So yeah, I don't know if that's worth it, really. There's just better things you could be doing with that mana.
Right. I mean, the current mage deck cheating out secrets is already... But a lot of that secret synergy is going to go away. So there is that. So maybe mage will need to morph. And who knows, like, maybe these cards that we're comparing against the power level of the meta right now, which I would say is at bonkers level and possibly the highest it's ever been. Like, maybe the power level is going to come back down and we'll actually see these types of cards be able to thrive. So
we can only hope so.
Yeah, I do hope so. I feel like the power creep is actually a little insane right now. So.
Yeah, it's too real.
All right, moving on. We have one Paladin card as well, and this one I know you have a lot to say about. It's called Rebuke, and it's got some sick art. I really like the art on Rebuke. It's so cool.
Yeah, very cool. Very symmetrical, light and dark stuff going on.
Yeah, like, you know, that's my aesthetic. Like, that's hitting me on all cylinders. So, what is Rebuke? It's a 2-mana Paladin spell that Loathebs, basically, with no body. Enemy spells cost 5 mana. 5 more mana the next turn. So you're blocking, you're looking at building a dude paladin board and then blocking the AoE turn. With this card,
I think this could really be devastating.
It could potentially be.
Because, like, Loatheb was amazing because if you had a board and then you drop Loatheb on turn 5, then boom, 5/5 comes out. You've already got a board. Your opponent can't do anything about it, really, and you're set to just plow their face next turn.
Yeah.
So while this doesn't come with the huge body, it's so much cheaper than Loatheb that you could. What I see this as is a reload turn, where you just suffered a board wipe. And you're like, okay, I gotta get back in. I gotta get back in the game, because after your board gets cleared, for an aggro deck, it's a bit of a struggle to like establish again. Because sure, you can load the board up, but you know, then it's your opponent has priority on making the next move. Then you just get Dustbreakered again, although that's a minion.
Exactly.
So,
and that was something I was gonna bring up, is like, I definitely understand blocking the Flame Strike, blocking the Blizzard, blocking, whatever, the Hellfire. But we're looking at a meta where we also have a lot of minions that board wipe.
And that's true. So depending on what the counters to aggro paladin are, this may or may not go in the deck. But what I like about this, back on my tirade, is you can, since it's only 2 mana, you can, on that turn 5 or turn 6 or whatever, you can spend a handful of mana, 4 or 5 mana, reloading your board, and then your last 2 mana, you just block the spells, and then you're back to where you have, you know, the board presence that's a threat, and there's nothing they can really do about it.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna try this for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think the perfect time to use this card is when you're presenting lethal on board, right? You know, like, you have to do something or I am going to kill you, and then you try to stop them from being able to do anything. So.
Well, and not even as, I mean, yeah, when you're presenting lethal, for sure, you want to drop this, but also just trying to stay in the game once the control deck has, you know, wiped you out once.
Or preemptively stopping them, or even just like you've just King's Dominion and you're worried that it's going to get deathed or fireballed or something. So you rebuke to keep that minion alive. Like, there's definitely a lot of there's a lot of instances where, you know, it's a skillful card. I mean, you've got to make a read on, like, you know, is it the right time to AoE? Like, how devastating would it be, like, for your opponent to have to wait another turn? You know, there's a lot of thought that goes into the process of using this. So. Yeah.
Basically, what this has an advantage over Loatheb in is mana cost, and you're able to, you know, play a big board and then cast Rebuke, and, you know, that board lives, or that one King's Dominion lives. Yeah, so it's I see it as a way of getting back in the game and keeping the pressure high.
Yeah, I agree. But then the Void Lord comes down and you're like, oh man, that wasn't a spell.
Yeah, right.
But hey, that Dark Pact though.
That's gonna cost a whole six mana.
That's what it should cost.
Yeah. What's Cabal Lackey? 2 mana? Or sorry, Possessed Lackey. 2 mana?
Possessed Lackey is 5.
Is he 5?
Yeah. Possessed Lackey is a 5 mana 2/2.
You can't Pact and Lackey in the same turn if you Rebuke.
Correct.
So that's good.
Yep, that is good. You can't cube and do it either. All right.
4 Salt Shakers.
Yeah, I give it 3. All right, moving on. Coffin. This is our first priest card. I don't know. No, this is not the only one. But Coffin Crasher is a rare Death Rattle minion. 6 mana, 6/5. Death Rattle. Summon a Death Rattle minion from your hand. So we were just talking about Possessed Lackey. This is in a way almost like similar.
Yes.
Death Rattle to get another minion out. Only a 6 mana, 6/5 is like a really like pretty well statted minion. It's not like the best you can get on 6, but it's a pretty decent effect.
I see abuse potential written all over this thing. You know, we don't want to misread this one.
I'm not misreading this one. I definitely think that like, obviously you don't want to put this in a deck where you're packing in like a bunch of little Death Rattle minions. Like, you know, I don't know, like whenever you see a Priest Death Rattle card, like it's kind of hard not to think, oh, maybe Quest, but I don't think it goes in a deck like that, because what you want from this Death Rattle is something similar to what Warlocks get on the Death Rattle from Possessed Lackey, which is a minion that's really big, beefy, and expensive. So statue, like you want to get statue out with this card.
Yes.
Lich King, or not Lich King. I always think Lich King has Death Rattle for some reason. I don't know
he
why.
is undead.
Yeah, but you know, statue. The only problem that I'm seeing is that like statue is the only minion I think is like you're super stoked about to get out from this
so far.
Right. So hopefully we see more. I mean, there is a couple other things. There's like the classic, you know, what's his name? The Cairn. Cairn is decent. If you were trying to run Dragon Synergy, which, you know, may or may not still be a thing, there's like an okay card, the Bone Drake or whatever could potentially be something.
Deathwing Dragonlord's a Death Rattle, isn't it?
Yeah. So maybe Death Rattle Dragon type synergy could be a thing. What
expansion was Dragonlord from? Is he leaving?
Oh, that's a good question.
I can't remember.
He doesn't seem to fit any of them, you know?
Yeah, I cannot remember. Yeah, only in Wild.
Oh, okay. So he's going to be a Wild thing. Oh, yeah, he's Mean Streets of Geth.
He's Mean Streets. Thanks for that, Dougie.
Thank you.
Yeah, so... But it's still... That doesn't change that you know, this is almost like Skull the Minari and Possessed Lackey kind of rolled into one thing, and also just a good statted minion. So, I mean, it doesn't get recruited from your deck, comes out of your hand, but, you know, Q-Blocks don't mind if the Doom Guard or the Void Lord comes out of their hand. They're totally fine with that.
Oh, well, they do that with Skull and Minari, yeah. I mean,
that's what I'm saying,
it's definitely better as a recruit, but you're getting a 6/5 and not, like, you know, a 2/2 or a 3/3, you know, like scaling it up for the mana. Oh, and I looked at the thing wrong, by the way. It's Mean Streets. I was trying to get it by the not Mean Streets, Whispers.
Old Gods.
I was trying to see. It's so hard. I wish they would change the way that you see the set symbol, because it's behind a wall of text always, and it's just like barely like faded into the card. I prefer the way like Magic does it. Here we go, the first Magic reference. We need a bell for like the first Magic reference, where you can see it. It's like a little circle on a part of the card, and it's like very prominent. You can see what set it's from. But I always have issues with that. So anyway,
so yeah, I'm not gonna undershoot this one. There's definite abuse potential.
I give it a 4. I give this.
I give it a 4.
Yeah, I think that
this is gonna do something.
Yeah, and hopefully, I mean, depending on your perspective on how strong you want Priest to be, hopefully there will be another good Death Rattle minion to combo with this. So
yeah.
All right. Speaking of Death Rattle synergy, we have Vivid Nightmare from Priest as well, which is an epic spell for 3 mana. Choose a friendly minion, summon a copy of it with 1 health remaining. The wording is like a little strange on that, but it's mainly to tell you that the minion will have the capacity to have the full health of the minion that you copied. So if you copy an Ysera, it's going to be a 4/1, but you could heal it back to a 4/12.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, that you can, that they're damaged.
Yes.
Which actually just made me think of using this on an Enrage minion, because then they would be. Oh, sorry, what's an Enrage minion? That doesn't exist. That's not an ability.
Well, you know, they said that they weren't going to make any more Enrage, so you know, there's definitely no minions that could have the Enrage tag in this card.
Well, they're not making any more Enrage. Anyway, this card. This could be some shenanigans.
I have a problem with this that I need to voice my problem with this. I look at it and I think, yeah, combo enabler, yeah, it's good. But the problem is that we already have Mirage Caller, which is this effect on a stick. It's not exactly this effect because it is a 1/1 copy. So it doesn't have the potential to be healed back up, and it doesn't have the minion's base attack. But when I look at this, I don't think I want to copy a minion with a ton of stats and heal that minion and use him for his stats. I think of it as I want to copy Velen or Malagos and do something with, you know, like a crazy combo piece. But we've had that for a while now with Mirage Caller. Mirage Caller sees no play. So if you're duplicating something for the effect that it has, Mirage Caller is just better than this card. And I don't know. It's weird. It's like if there's something out there that it like has already existed, like it would have been abused by Mirage Caller. So I have a little bit of a problem with that. I mean, you know, I guess you could say that this is a little better in the way that a 1/1 copy is just so easy to kill, so at least if you have the ability to heal up the minion you're copying, it has a chance to stick. Like, I don't know, it's a little weird. This
could be a component of the very classic Priest deck where you've got your Northshire Cleric out, and you got some other good minion out, and you copy it, and it's damaged, and then you do some trading, and then you Circle of Healing, and then the copy's healed back up, and you draw a bunch of cards. You know, I could see it going, because then that's taking advantage of the fact that it can be healed back up. So I could see it going in like a classic kind of Priest deck.
Right. And maybe, you know, there's a deck that's like abuses using Vivid Nightmare and Mirage Caller in the same deck. And getting more copies or more
double
chances
the chances double the chances for shenanigans. some interesting targets for this card from our chat. The Ancient One, which is leaving standard. But who knows if there will be a wild Ancient One deck. Another one is Leroy Jenkins.
Ah, the 6 power on Leroy. That's okay. So the power can come into play in certain instances. Okay.
And that's Leroy's 5 mana. So for 8 mana, 12 to face. I mean, that 12 ain't nothing.
It's not nothing.
Yeah.
One thing that I was going to say was that
Miracle Priest.
Yeah. One thing I was going to say is that you can't discover Mirage Caller off of Shadow Visions, but you can certainly discover this off of it.
You sure can.
So there's definitely some instances where this is, this is probably just straight up the better card, because who cares about the 2/3? So, being a spell and the fact that it keeps its power and such, it's definitely the better card. But, I just wanted to throw that out there. Like, if there was some sort of abusable combo by making copies, we would have already seen a lot of shenanigans with that. But this could go in a slightly different direction. Like a more, board-centric one. So
I see potential in this. I would probably say 3 Salt Shakers.
Yeah, I think it's gonna get abused. It just feels like one of those cards that's
there's no guarantees that it's gonna happen, but I definitely see there's a lot of potential in this card.
Yeah, I almost want to give it a 4 and go right along with the Coffin Crasher. Priest is, I mean, Priest always gets really strong cards because they need them. So we're kind of seeing that.
You can copy your Coffin Crasher and then death rattle 2 things out of your hand, and who knows?
Yeah, it's a great target for it. You're right.
Yeah.
All right, and you get that 6 power too. That's nothing to laugh at. So, moving on to Rogue, we have the spell Wanted. It's 4 mana to deal 3 damage to a minion. And if that kills the minion, you add a coin to your hand. I feel like this is bad.
I've seen people saying that it's bad. I feel like there's something here, though.
Well, I just would like to compare this card to Flanking Strike, which is 4 mana, deal 3 damage, summon a 3/3. It doesn't matter if you killed that minion, and a 3/3 is so much better than the coin.
This is true. The only benefit here is that it is a coin, which is a spell, which lets you cast more spells because it's more mana, etc., etc. So that's a very rogue thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, Flanking Strike's in Hunter, so...
I know, but I mean, like, just the power level of this card is so much lower. I mean, Rogue can abuse 0 mana spells, especially coins, a lot. So if there's gonna be, like, if they really need the coin for that, like, that badly for their gadgets and turns or whatever they're trying to use coins to do, then, like, potentially, but it just seems like a really inefficient burn for Rogue. Like, they can, first of all, you can't even point at phase. I just, like, compare this to, like, Eviscerate and just, like, their removal options that are so much more potent.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It does seem pretty underpowered.
What else can you compare it to? It's just like at 4. I mean, getting a coin, you used to be able to play a 4 mana 5/4 and get a coin. From Death Rattle, like the days of Tomb Pillager, or like Hammer of Wrath and Paladin, like deal 3 damage, draw a card. Nobody plays that card.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. It's, the strength of it is that it is in Rogue, and there, because you could prep this. That's a spell. Cast this for 1 mana, kill a minion, get a coin, use your coin, play Van Cleef.
But the fact that you have to kill the minion too, like, that just makes it so. Like, I honestly don't understand why this couldn't be 4 for 4 damage or 3 for 3. Like, getting a coin is not so powerful that this needs to be strictly worse than Jade Lightning. Like, Jade Lightning summon a golem, a Jade Golem.
Yeah.
So much better than getting a coin. I don't know. This card just, I don't get it. I
I have to give it a 2.
Yeah, I'm going to do this.
Because, all right, if you're going to give it a 2, I'm going to give it a 2.5.
Okay, well, I'll stick to 2.
Because I'm the guy who doesn't trust what Rogue is capable of.
And you've made me, honestly, this would be a 1, but, you and Rogue have made me scared of Rogue, so... but still, though, it's just all those cards, all those situational cards that you can compare it to, they're just better or equally not as good. I mean, this card would be a lot better if it didn't say if that kills it. Why are they so scared to give you the coin? Why is it? Because
it's a wanted poster, and if you don't kill the target, you're not going to get the bounty
for the flares. Okay, so why isn't it 4 damage then?
I know, I don't know.
It's just all these things. It's 4 mana, but it's only 3 damage, and you have to kill it. It's just there's so many things you got to go through.
You can pair it with Backstab, which is free. Take out something that has 5 health. The Backstab, prep, wanted, coin, eviscerate.
You do have to look at it based off of the tools that it has. Shaman couldn't prep Jade Lightning. So,
no, exactly.
There's different things that you have to keep in mind.
All right, 3 stars. 3. I'm saying 3.
I'm saying it 2. All right, moving on. That was the only rogue card. We have Shaman now. Witch's Apprentice. This is the Shaman Babbling book. Remember how we always talk about how Shaman gets everything Mage gets, and it's usually slightly better. I don't think that this is actually better than Babbling book though, but it's a 1 mana 0/1 with Taunt and Battlecry to add a random Shaman spell to your hand. It's definitely better as a 0/1 Taunt than a 1/1, I would say, because there's just some times where there's a big minion, and no matter how, without removal from hand or whatever, no matter how big the minion is, it doesn't matter if you can just throw this little duder in front of them.
Yeah.
So in that way, I think it's better. But what's worse is that Shaman spells are worse than Mage spells.
This is true.
So
yeah, this is decent. I'm not going to say this is a bad card. And
no, it's not a bad card at all.
And Shamans have a lot more ways to buff their board. Next turn, you throw a Flame Tongue Totem down next to this, and you got yourself an attacker.
Yeah, absolutely. Shaman can generally abuse bodies way more than Mage can. So
yeah. So I'd put this at least 3. Yeah, 3 stars. Yeah,
I think this definitely finds its way into some kind of a deck. Babbling Book doesn't baseline get played in every Mage deck or anything. So I do think that it's a little predicated on the fact that there's some kind of deck that is willing to sacrifice a little tempo for a little value. Yeah, it's not like an auto include in every Shaman deck or anything. But I definitely think it could find a place. So
yeah.
Moving on.
I think it's totally decent.
Yeah, I agree. All right, and we've had Hagatha revealed, and anybody who watched that first the reveal of the Witchwood, they were teasing when you saw the card art of Hagatha. Oh, it's too OP and everything. They were screaming, "Nerf it, nerf it!" So let's see what Hagatha actually does. It's a 8 mana hero card that gives you the 5 armor, just like every other hero card. And battle cries to deal 3 damage to all minions. So it's hellfiring almost the board, just not hitting characters, players. And then it switches your hero power to a passive hero power that says, after you play a minion, add a random Shaman spell to your hand. So basically, the flavor here ties right into the last card we just looked at, and everything is Hagatha's Apprentice and giving you a Shaman spell when you play them.
Yeah. This seems underwhelming. Yeah.
Underpowered. Yeah. It's so funny that I feel like that's kind of a common thing where they talk up the power level of a card like it's insane.
Yeah.
And then it's just not.
It's just not.
Yeah, this is okay, what are the problems here? Okay, super heavy mana cost on Hagatha. 8 mana seems excessive. I feel like this card wouldn't be overpowered at 6, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, Rexar shoots your opponent's minions for all for 2, and it's just your opponent's.
Yeah.
And how much is he?
6.
6? Yeah. So what's the deal here?
And then you get zombies, which you have to pay 2 mana for them, but I guarantee you they're better than shaman spells. I think the main problem here is that shaman spells aren't great, which is exactly what I was saying about the frog thing. They tend to be, okay, a lot of them overload you. Overload's a difficult mechanic to deal with, especially without really having cards to unload mana crystals, which we don't really have for shaman at this point. They are usually super situational, like Bloodlust needs a huge board. There's a lot of board wipes. So obviously, like, the mana cost of this and the general nature of shaman spells and her battle cry all definitely says this needs to be a control shaman.
Yep.
But I guess the only thing that makes me even think that there's, like, some sort of a future for this card is Echo Minions, after seeing the passive hero power. Just, like, getting...
That's a good point.
Yeah, getting multiple spells off of the same card seems like the way to go with this.
Yeah, because I was going to say, you know, this late in the game and it being a control deck, you're probably not running a ton of minions.
Exactly, that's the other problem.
Yeah, you're barely going to get anything out of this hero power. But yeah, I didn't think about Echo. That's an interesting point. There could be... It honestly doesn't even matter what it is as long as it's a cheap Echo card, and just really just reload that hand. And
the taunt Echo minion comes to mind because, I mean,
yeah,
you know, you always want taunts if you're trying to live and, you know, outvalue your opponent, which is definitely what you're trying to do with this.
Yeah,
but you know, you just gotta worry about the overload on those cards. You know, a lot of them just have these, like, extreme effects, like Volcano, that you can't always, like, fully control. It's not always a great board to Volcano. You know, if there's 16 health on board and you can't do anything about it, Volcano ends up being a pretty bad card because you don't know what one minion's gonna live. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, like, I expected a lot more from Hagatha, and I really thought that, remember our prediction was that it was going to synergize with totems? Like, yeah, apparently that's right out the window because, I don't know, like, they just keep half-assing, like, trying to bring Totem Shaman back. Like, this...
I like my idea better.
I don't even remember what you had said your idea was.
That it was going to be Totem Synergy.
Oh, yeah, I like it better, too, because that's what seemed like what they were trying to push.
Yeah, it would make so much more sense.
Even decks and stuff, you know?
Yeah. So,
I don't know. I think that we're not the only ones that feel this way. This generally hit the entire community with a resounding meh. So, I mean, you know, if we're wrong, we're all wrong together. But I really just don't see it for Hagatha. So
no, at least not with, like, unless there's something that's going to be printed. I feel like we have to give this disclaimer every single time we speak. Unless there's something that's going to be printed.
Saying, but, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, 2 salt shakers.
Yeah, I would have to agree. That's like, honestly, it might even be one material, if nothing new, like, that really just sings with Hagatha. Just like the synergy is so, like, beautiful, then just pretty much just like kind of an unplayable card. So
yeah. All
right. Moving on to this card, I found, like, this updated name when this card first hit. This is a warrior minion, and it first hit as Fluffy Wasp, and I think that was a translation error, and I found it most recently as Red Band Wasp, which makes a lot more sense because there's no fluff on there. So
I actually originally saw its name as Red Insect.
Oh, really? So
yeah,
that's funny. So it's been kind of popping around to different names, but
yeah,
hopefully Red Band Wasp is really what it's called. It is a 2-mana 1/3 with Rush that has +3 attack while damaged. Doesn't that sound like a mechanic that they said recently they weren't going to really be using anymore?
Yeah, they're not using Enrage anymore.
I can't put my finger on it. So weird. They take Enrage away and then literally print an Enrage minion. I don't know. I just like, I'm not like, it's not like, you know, the end of the world or anything that they took Enrage away, but I just really feel like it was just a dumb idea. Like, it doesn't declutter the game at all to make these cards have more text on them. This could just be 2-mana 1/3, Rush, Enrage, +3 attack. Like, clean. you know.
And I bet you anything when you mouse over it, it's the enchantment is still gonna say enraged.
It might. You're right.
Yeah.
No, it's
So-
gonna be like has +3 attack because it is damaged. That is so. that is so much slicker. You're right.
That is the name of the enchantment is has attack because it is damaged.
That's just so triggered me. Okay, so anyway, what's the power level of this card? I feel like it's pretty low. I
agree.
Yeah.
What are you gonna rush? Like,
yeah, what are you attacking? So does this card become good with +3 attack? Well, I don't really think so, because you're looking at best at a 4/2. And now that's pretty decent for a 2-drop, but you don't get to utilize that 4 attack unless you're playing this alongside like Whirlwind or Warpath or something, immediately boosting it up to a 4/2 for an insta trade into something. But that seems kind of unnecessary. Yeah, what's it killing on turn 2 with 1 attack? You know?
Yeah.
Not even most 1-drops that see play in Constructed. Pretty much none of them, honestly.
I've grown pretty jaded about enrage cards, because that was the first mechanic. Like when I first started Hearthstone, that was the mechanic that my heart sought out.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, I'm gonna make this work.
Yeah,
and
you were
boy was I wrong.
Yeah, you were disappointed.
So I always want to be optimistic with these enraged minions,
right?
Because I'm like, oh well, you know, it's like almost got charge, and you know, 4/2's pretty good if you can kill something, but
yeah,
it never works. It just never works.
I don't see this making it into Constructed decks. It seems like it might be like pretty decent in Arena, like it's something that you wouldn't mind picking up. But yeah, in Constructed, the power level just seems a little low. So
yeah,
if it was just charge, this would be a good minion.
I agree.
And but with Rush, I don't think so. All right, moving on.
2 stars.
2 stars. For some reason, this minion has like a low quality picture here. I couldn't really find a better one, but it is the one of the warrior legendary minions, Darius Crowley, Mr. Crowley. So he's a 5-mana 4/4 rush. When this attacks and kills a minion, gain +2/+2. So we have Blizzard was upset that nobody liked their boogie monster, so they made a new one.
Yeah, when I first saw this, I was like, ooh, this looks good. But then I thought about it with my brain. I decided that it is not in fact good.
Yes.
Because on turn 5, killable targets may or may not be available. So then there's just no point in rushing a minion if he can't kill it.
Right.
And then once he does kill it, you know, best case scenario, he comes out of it with, or sorry, worst case scenario, he comes out of it with 3 health, making him incredibly killable.
Well, he's going to get the +2/+2, so you can't forget about that.
That's what I'm saying. So if he rushes an attack, if he hits a thing with 3 power and lives, he's going to have 3 health.
Now, I looked around for some clarification on if he takes lethal damage but would heal out of range if he will actually stay alive, and I couldn't find a definitive answer, but I want to say that he probably will live, mainly because of the fucked up interaction that pre-Murloc War Leader nerf had with Finja. Finja would take lethal damage, get healed by the buff from Murloc War Leader, and live. So
okay,
I feel like Crowley will actually live, but I still don't think that redeems him.
Because then that does make him a lot better, because then he can
a lot better, but still I just don't think playable.
He can kill something with a ton of power. And it doesn't matter how much it hits him for.
Well, the most that he could do is at baseline is he could kill a 5/4 and live as a 6/1 or a 6/1. So.
I mean, he could kill a 34.
No, because that would overkill him.
Oh, okay. So that's true. They do go into negative, and then he would get the +2.
So the most he could take down is basically a 5/4 power. So, and then you're looking at having a 6/1, which gets very, very easily traded off.
Yeah.
He's not going to have the potential without an effect like Wind Fury to snowball outside of your opponent's control. Like, this basically is just kind of an inefficient removal spell, almost, is how I look at it.
If you could have him eating 1-power minions or
eating babies. Look at him. He wants to eat babies.
Yeah, if you could have him eating babies, if you could have him eating totems, things with 0.
Yeah, but he's gonna get
0
death
attack
or hexed or
because then he comes, then you're looking at a 5-mana 6/6 or 6/5, and you just removed something. So I think we're maybe not considering enough potential board states that could exist.
Yeah.
And I might actually want to give him like 3 salt shakers for that reason.
Right.
Because I could see this dude like, damn, you could rush him into something and then rampage him, and he'd just be a monster. Of course, he can be killed easily.
Yeah, but then you have rampage in your deck.
Yeah, then you have rampage.
I don't know. I'm really on the fence about it. I don't think you can like entirely count him out, but I don't see abusable combo potential here. All you're really looking at is like a removal plus a decent minion attached, which is never like life or death in Hearthstone. It's never like, this is not a game winner,
Right, exactly.
So, and as a legendary, I feel like that's basically what you're usually looking for from a legendary, is a game winner. Like,
sure, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give him 2. I'm gonna give him 2.
Yeah.
You're 3. I'm on 2 there.
I think that's probably. I think you're probably right, but
we'll see. You never know.
We'll see.
I mean, I've been wrong before. All right, moving on. So, all the cards so far we've seen have been in the like kind of 3-star or less range, and Warlock's already so well positioned right now that I'm sure the Warlock cards will stay in that same vein of not super powerful, right? So let's see. We've seen both of the Warlock legendaries already. Yeah. Blenda Crowskin, 6 mana, 3/7, minions in your hand have Echo. Wow, doesn't that sound a lot better than all the cards we've seen so far?
That's pretty solid. Yeah, there's a lot you can do with this. That's so strange
for one of the top meta decks of the time.
Yeah, isn't that weird that they would get a really good legendary?
So, okay, but in all seriousness, though, I don't think this card is super overpowered or anything. It does seem to want to work in a deck that wants... in a Zoolock deck is what I see it. In a deck that wants on like 8 to 10 mana to try to reload their board. And, you play this, and then you can start playing all your lower-cost minions over and over again, get extra value out of those minions. But, at the same time, in Warlock, you're looking at low-cost, well-statted minions that hurt you. So, like,
yes.
Flame Imp and the 2/4 Taunt that hurts you for 2 as well. So, definitely, like, almost like a hyper-suicide-y kind of aggressive Zoolock deck.
Yeah, this might not actually go in the current meta Warlock. This might be like top of your curve for a Zoo deck.
Yeah, I don't see this fitting into the current Cube Lock archetype at all.
No.
Like, she doesn't advance that archetype in any sense. But, I mean, obviously there's major value potential there, but I feel like that's more limited than it is getting extra value out of cheaper minions, because of the sheer fact of mana cost is the thing. So, like, being able to play... I mean, Flame Imp is a little extreme, but like a good 1-drop, like, I don't know, like an Otterus Veteran, like 4 times.
Sure.
That's decent,
How about Keleseth?
Oh, yeah, of course, Keleseth, but generally speaking, I feel like you want Keleseth to come down a little earlier than this.
Well, you do, but it doesn't always happen.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. You can never count Keleseth out, so not gonna say that he won't find a place, but I mean, if it's a Zoolock archetype anyway, Keleseth's probably in the deck, and maybe this works, right? But then you can't use... What?
Holy shit. You could go Knife Juggler, Knife Juggler, Knife Juggler, Knife Juggler, and...
Right.
Oh, God, the knives. So many knives.
I mean, she doesn't have, like, a super high survival rate, I'm gonna say. I mean, even as a 3/7, like, those are good stats, but, I mean, Shadow Word Pain's gonna hit her. She is a high priority target. Like, she basically has Spell Taunt, like, Eliminate with Extreme Prejudice like this card. So
absolutely,
your opponent's going to pull out all the stops to do anything they can to remove her. So I think you're generally talking about using a 1-drop 4 times alongside her with 10 mana crystals.
Yeah.
So
I see the potential there, but it may not see play. I'd probably give it like three stars.
I'm gonna give it 3 because I feel like it could, but I also feel like it couldn't, and I feel like 3 or 2.5 is basically representative of that. So but
what else does Warlock have?
Surely the next card won't be good. But wait, it's actually the best card we've seen. Period, from Witchwood. It's called Lord Godfrey. It's a 7 mana 4/4 with Battle Cry to Defile on Crack. Deal 2 damage to all other minions. If any die, repeat this Battle Cry. What?
Fuck you, Warlock.
Why? They don't have enough board wipes in Q Block yet? Are you serious?
This is absolutely insane.
I'm offended. On a deep personal level, like what the fuck is this card? This is insane.
I find this very offensive.
He only hits other minions, so at the end of his killing spree, I mean, he's got guns, like he's like shooting you in the face, and then he's still there at the end of it. Like, I mean, a 4/4 isn't like a huge threat or anything, but come on, like it's you're looking at cheaper than. You're looking at probably kill everything, and you're looking at cheaper than Twisting Nether, and you're getting a body out of it. So Warlock, Q-Block, Control Warlock, whatever you want to call like that, different variations of Warlock that we've seen, has enough board wipes, god damn it. Double Defile, double Hellfire, double Twisting Nether, like... Oh my god.
And they have access to even more. Like they've got Abyssal Enforcer, they've got Shadow Flame. Like there's so much there. So yeah, sure, go ahead and give them more. Give them more of what they need.
I was just
floored. They don't need it at this point.
Floored when I saw this. It's insane. The guy should at least kill himself. I mean, Jesus. Oh my god, this is
I think if he killed himself it wouldn't be much better than Twisting Nether, if at all.
I mean, who knows? But maybe it would even be a better card because, like the way you try to play around Defile is not give them 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So, you just try to skip. Like, then they have to fill in the gap with, like, their own minions. Like, they have to play a 2-health minion to enable the Defile to continue. So if he, like, shot himself twice and then enabled himself for a 3rd shot, maybe he'd even be better. But the reach on Defile... Or the reach on this is so much better than Defile because you don't have to go 1, 2, 3, 4. You can go 1, 3, 5. Like anything in that range is going to get just absolutely decimated.
Yep.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
Yep.
And Warlock did not need that. Okay.
11 Salt Shakers.
They didn't need it. 11 Salt Shakers.
No, they didn't need it.
This is my first 11. I'm joining you.
All right. Join me in the 11 club.
Anyway. That made me mad. I was like, really? Okay. So, anyway. Not a good way to end the reveals. I feel like everything was, like, basically okay. Like, some pretty decent priest cards, and then you have that insanity at the end. But, I don't know. It remains to be seen.
It does.
So that was the 24 new cards today. I'm gonna take one quick sec before we get to the card challenge, which is how we're gonna close out the show today, but I want to see how close we are to the next reveal.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
In the meantime, if you're new to the show, our card creation challenge is something we do every week, where it's just a little, not really a contest, but it's a challenge, where we give you guys a prompt to design a Hearthstone card based on our prompt. It could be something simple like make a minion with taunt, or something complicated like design an entire new class. So we judge the cards based on balance, creativity, and would Hearthstone make this card? And the best way to do it is to head over to hearthcards.net, and they let you make custom Hearthstone cards to your liking. You can upload whatever image. It's great. And please submit them to us on our Twitter at Salty Dog Podcast. and submit in PNG format, and we will love you.
Yes, we will.
And we usually just pick 6 winners, and sometimes we can play games with those people after the show, which is fun. So that's the card creation challenge. Did you find anything?
Yes, I did. The card that has been revealed, and there's actually another one coming in another hour, but we won't still be streaming then, unfortunately. But we are going to look at this one really quick. Let me just make sure that this is going to look right. Okay. Let's take a look at Sound the Bells. Hot off the presses.
Sound of the bells.
It's a paladin buff card with Echo. 2 mana, give a minion +1/+2 with Echo. Galvadon, baby, he's back. No.
Oh.
No, this is I mean, in general, this doesn't actually strike me as super powerful. You know, I really just don't think Galvadon's ever gonna make it. But this goes a little bit of a way to helping you complete that quest.
It does, and it makes your Linessa even bigger, which is something.
Yeah, technically, Linessa, I would say, gets plenty of stats as it is. Like, I don't think that this really helps Linessa. Linessa benefits from new abilities being added to her card text, summoning steeds and divine shields and drawing cards and such.
But she still goes in the Galvadon deck because you're buffing minions. So no, I don't think this is very good.
I don't think it's going to make it in Constructed. Now on the other token though, this is a pretty damn good card in Arena, and I think most of the Echo cards are going to be. That does make a lot of sense. So you can just like it in an Arena turn where you have a decent board and you top deck this on a later turn, like with 6 or 8 mana or something, you basically can just choose to eliminate your opponent's board in whatever the most efficient way for you to do that is. Like healing up your minions with this and putting their power at high enough level to get those value trades. And super good for that.
I mean, Echo is just going to be good in Arena because of all the flexibility you get from it. So
in Constructed, it strikes me as not powerful enough.
Yeah, it would need to be like, well, if it was +2/+2, then it would just be Kings, but more flexible. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to fix this card.
I don't either. Echo's really difficult to balance around, which we're actually going to see talk a lot about that today because our challenge, as Dookie was saying earlier, was to use either Echo or Rush, and those are both pretty difficult abilities to balance. So,
well, you can use any ability from Witchwood.
Right.
For this challenge,
of course. But that's basically the majority of what we got was Echo and Rush. But with Sound the Bells, like I can just see it now though, like that the sound effect that it makes is going to be really fun because like as you pointed, it's going to be like dong 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 dong, like it'll just like keep making that like bell sound as you play it,
and it'll be echoing.
Yes. So anyway. It's cool that we got to see that one. That one was just revealed, so I don't know. Also a little lackluster, but
we also have our Q&A segment.
Oh yeah, let's do that first before we do card challenge. We will address some questions. The first one I'll take because it's directed at me from Nepeta. Is there any update on news concerning me streaming solo? That is a little difficult for me to say right now. It's still something I really want to do. But I've mentioned this a couple times. I'm in the process of, I just bought my own place for the first time. I own a condo now, and I am doing a bunch of paperwork and stuff related to that. And then I need to move. And that's if you've ever moved before in your life, you know that sucks ass.
It's the worst.
So basically not in the very near future. I'm gonna need at least a couple of months to make sure I'm all settled, and I gotta get a new job, and like I've got a lot of shit going on right now, unfortunately. So at this time, I'm basically just looking at still doing the Tuesday streams. If there's ever a day when like Dookie's busy on a Tuesday, and I could still stream, you know, at that point, you know. But 2 days a week is already You know, with my full-time job and all this stuff going on, kind of difficult for me. So, unfortunately, not at the moment, but still something I want to do.
All right.
All right.
So, next question is from Alekman, who asked us. This is a follow-up on a previous question he asked. He said, "I'd like to revisit my earlier topic on named archetypes. I'm not talking about fire or frost spells. Imagine if all the grimy goons and hand buff cards all shared the name grimy goons as a prefix. They still kept their hand buff playstyle, but they had additional effects that gave you benefits for running your deck with more minions of that archetype. So, you know, it would be something like, you know, you play a minion and it's like give all grimy goons in your hand +1/+1 or something. So
yeah,
really all that is a tribe.
It functions in much the same way, but you're basically like talking about using that with like a wider brush, right? Like using it on more cards. And that's something that we've said multiple times that we wish they did. Adding more tribes for the set. I mean, we were like the biggest proponents of undead becoming a thing in Knights of the Frozen Throne, and I'd love to see that like put on spells. Like, yeah, let's assign elemental damage to the different kinds of spells. Like, you know, right there under tribe on Fireball, it says fire. You know, then you can have cards draw a fire spell from your deck. You know, like, you know, something like that. The fiery explosive runes could be a fire spell. And then you could be drawing secrets, you know, like, yes, definitely. That sounds amazing to me.
I don't know if that, like, that seems more likely than, like, if you cast a spell that has fire in the name, do this. Like, that seems infinitely more likely than them ever doing something like that. But also, you know, they really just, it can't replace the tribe, because a lot of these cards are going to have tribes as well as being a grimy goon or whatever.
So like a Murloc grimy goon or something.
Right, which
we
is
have
a thing.
Scale Chum. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So it would have to, you know, they'd all have to have that like tricolor banner on them to like indicate, even if it's a neutral card, to indicate that it's part of this, you know, this gang.
Then you know where you're traversing dangerously close towards for Hearthstone developers is the confusing.
Might be confusing.
Things are getting confusing because players that don't play the game that much, very casual players, are like, wait, what's a grimy goon card?
Yeah, exactly.
What's that? I don't know what that is. How do I know?
Yeah,
like
I'd like to see something like that happen, but it seems unlikely with just the way they're so obsessed with like simplicity. So, but good question.
Yeah, very good question. And Dookie and I are 100% in favor of things like that becoming a part of the game. But I think we both still have to stick with our original answer to the question, which was it's unlikely for Hearthstone to do this.
Yeah. Yep.
So, all right, moving on. From Hunter Smith, Dookie, do you have any plans of playing Monster Hunter on your channel, which seems to be dead? And would you like to play with fans?
So my channel's currently dead. I will be resurrecting it at least by next May, if not sooner. Clash is going away.
No, I'm still here. Keep going.
So I haven't really figured out exactly how I want to go about resurrecting my YouTube channel, because I don't want to just be miserable, which is, I mean, I was pretty miserable, you know, trying to keep up with that.
Right.
And Monster Hunter, you know, I think doing things that I very thoroughly enjoy on YouTube, doing things like Monster Hunter or Pokemon Go that I really am enjoying right now, doing that on YouTube sounds more appealing to me than anything else, really. So that's definitely an idea. If I played actively with anybody, though, I would probably do that on Twitch, because that's just, I think that's better for that. I would have to, I mean, I guess I would just upload the recording, but I'd rather just stream it and just, you know, that way you can just play for hours and whatever.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, playing with fans, like, I barely have played with anybody, so yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah, right on.
So you know, maybe something Monster Hunter related. I really am loving the game still, so trying to just figure out if I want to implement that into work or just keep it purely, recreational.
Yeah, you wouldn't realize until you start doing it, how much games start to feel more like an obligation when you start doing it that way. So
yeah, exactly.
I can definitely attest to that as well. All right, and then you want to take our last question? Yeah.
From Aorcos, if you had to make a game series into a card game, which one would it be? I think my answer is pretty obvious. Persona 5. Man,
I would have bet good money on that one.
I don't think they would make a Persona 5 card game. I think they would make a Persona card game.
Well, right.
Yeah, the whole universe.
Yeah.
But I read this question earlier and I was thinking about it and I was like, I don't know, World of Warcraft. Oh wait.
Yeah. It's kind of weird because I'm going through games now in my head and not a lot of games make sense as card games.
Yeah. They all the good candidates either do already or they're not good candidates.
One of the ones that popped into my head and I almost thought it was going to be an original thought was The Witcher, and then I was like, wait, Gwent is already a game, so
yeah. You know what, I would say for a specific game my answer is Smash Bros.
Oh my god. That would be insane.
The idea is it's not going to play like Smash Bros. The idea is that it's a card game based on all the Nintendo properties.
Hunter's answer, what game series do you want into a card game? Nintendo.
Well, because I don't know. I feel Metroid's my favorite Nintendo IP, but I feel like that all of the individual Nintendo worlds seem a little too limited to take Mario's world and make that a card game, and I think including all the Nintendo properties would appeal to more people. I wouldn't play a Mario card game, but I'd play a Nintendo card game.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I do have an answer. I think that Final Fantasy has a lore that's deep and well established enough to support a card game. I'm not sure if they've ever had one and it was just some flop and nobody really played it, or I've just never heard of it or whatever. But Final Fantasy has these really well established fantasy tropes that I think would lend itself to a card game well, like their spell naming system, Fire, Fyra, Fyraga. Blizzard, Blizzara, Blizzaga, they've got this Final Fantasy brand of nomenclature and established fantasy beasts like Marlboros and summons and stuff. There's a lot of different card types I can think of just off the top of my head. So Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I actually thought about that one too, and the only reason that wasn't one reason that wasn't my answer was just that I really don't like the way the series has gone post Final Fantasy X.
Right.
So there would be a bunch of crap I don't recognize in it, and I'd be like, I don't want to play this.
Yeah, and half the cards would just be some scene kid with his hair down, and he's got a gun and a sword for some reason.
Yeah, and back in my day, we used a gun blade, and we liked it. We liked it fine that way.
Actually, back in our day, we used a gun arm, and we liked it fine that way.
Yeah, right.
No, we didn't miss the arm. All right, so that's it for our Q&A, and we're just going to go ahead. We already gave the spiel about Card Challenge and what it was last week, so we're just going to dive right into it and see what we got.
Let's go.
All right.
Prepare yourself for the ultimate test.
All right. Up first from Nepeta, we have the Headless Horseman. So I did mention briefly before that we were going to talk a lot about how difficult it is to balance these new all these new mechanics they put in Witchwood. Actually, all of them. And this one is start of the game, which is Baku and Gen Greymane. The odd and even cards have this. So this is a 6-mana 6/6 with start of the game if your deck has no other neutral cards. So this is giving a brand new start of game condition. Give all minions with Battle Cry in your deck Echo, and all minions with Death Rattle in your deck Taunt. Now, we both really like the idea behind this, but it's too powerful. So, basically, just even one easy example is Babbling Book and Mage.
Oh,
just being
Jesus.
able to continuously echo out Babbling Books and just get Mage spells in your hand. Giving all your Death Rattle minions taunt is insane too. Like Cairn Bloodhoof and Bane Bloodhoof with taunts, and you know, that Coffin Crasher thing, 6 mana, 6/5 taunt. Like,
yeah,
you want start of the game effects to be big, of course, and I like the idea behind this, but there's just examples that are too extreme in both instances of Death Rattles having taunt. Death Rattles having taunt is the lesser extreme one, and like this card would probably still be good enough to do that if that was the only condition, like, or if that was the only benefit. So having no neutral cards, all your Death Rattles have taunt, like that's a really strong ability just in and of itself, but all minions having Battlecry is way too abusable.
Oh yeah, Battlecry,
or Echo, sorry, all Battlecry minions having Echo, I said that wrong. Yeah,
Echo on your Battlecry minions is pretty fucked.
Yeah.
But I do really like the idea. Oh, by the way, I think this is Elecman's card, not Nepeta's.
Oh, was it? I put the wrong name there then. I must have transposed... Oh, you know what? I have it backwards. Okay, keep talking. And yes, this is Elecman's card, and I meant to put something else here.
Gotcha. Okay, so the Headless Horseman was a like a boss in WoW during the Halloween event, and he was even in Hearthstone too, as a boss. So that was cool, and I think this was the only start of game effect that we got submitted. So I thought it was cool that somebody used that. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, just good. Like this was a good creative submission. Just pretty OP, I think.
Definitely. Yeah, it just, and this uses two mechanics. It uses start of the game and Echo, and it just shows you how abusable, like, they kind of get away from you. You're like, oh yeah, that sounds reasonable, but then you just think about these, like, certain examples, and you're like, oh no, that's like, wow, that's crazy.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, sorry about that, Elecman and Nepeta. I kind of got your slides reversed, but we will have Nepeta's on here in a couple, cards down. So moving on, from Mana X, we have Smith and Smith, which I think Hunter almost puked when he saw this. It's 5 mana for a 4/5 Echo legendary minion for Warrior, with Battle Cry to double your armor. So definitely balanced around only being able to play this twice on 10 mana. That's the only thing that makes it even considerable. But even then, I think this is too much, just based purely on the fact of how much armor Warrior can gain.
Yeah, I mean, I've been up against Warriors who're sitting there with 30 armor, and this would put them at 60, 120, 120 armor.
Which is too extreme, even for a legendary minion. It really is. Like, that level of health gain, like, fatigue almost becomes a non-issue at that point in general. And, like, Warriors already have, like, insane resistance to fatigue, especially they're gonna have it with Baku, with tank up from the word go. So this is it's just too extreme,
Yeah, but I like the direction that it's being taken in. It's kind of funny, and it's Smith and Smith, so they both come down and make you some armor. Definitely like the direction that it's going in. It should probably be a static number rather than double.
Yeah, like, as a legendary minion and, like, a slightly understated 5-drop, I would be okay with seeing this Battle Cry gain 10 armor. I think 10 armor is fair. I wouldn't want to see you be able to gain more than 20 health off of one card, which is already pretty insane. So
for 10 mana, and you do get 2 bodies out of it, so and it's just, if you have no armor, then this doesn't do anything.
But you're not gonna have no armor. I mean, I do get that argument, like that this could end up being worse than a card that said Echo Battlecry gain 10 armor. It could be worse than that, but most of the time it's going to be way more extreme than that. So But definitely a cool idea, and something that I could see in a way, in some amalgamation of this making its way into Warrior.
Yeah. Once again, I really like the direction.
Yeah, definitely.
That they went with this one.
Up next from I'm a Dragon, we have the legendary Beast of Lore, Huffy Shock. Huffer, Misha, and Leok all stitched together into a horrible chimera.
I want to know where that artist's from.
I know. I think that this is something that people have, like, you know, it's kind of like an established, like, thing that Huffy Shock should be, like, a thing.
It's a headcanon.
Yeah, exactly. So, Huffy Shock is a hunter legendary beast, 3 mana for a 3/3 with Echo, that battle cries to transform a random spell in your hand into Craft a Zombeast, which is a 1 mana legendary spell to create a custom Zombeast and reduce its cost by 1. So basically giving you the Deathstalker Rexar hero power on 1 mana and discounting the cost of the beast it creates by 1. I really like the idea of the minion and the Echo ability and the ability that's actually transforming spells in your hand. So you've got to set up the turn where you play him. You got to have the spells in your hand. You got to not mind that they're getting transformed. But I don't think that it needs to be 1 mana and it needs to be discounted by 1. Like, I honestly feel like Craft a Zombie should just be like, use the Deathstalker Rexar power. Like, 2 mana, discover a Zombeast.
It really is hard to gauge the power level of something like this because you are transforming one of your, spells that's, perfectly usable in your hand, and you're going to have to make sure you're running a deck with enough spells so that this has targets if you want even to replace a spell with Craft a Zombeast. So you might not, you might be on a turn where you don't want to turn your kill command into Craft a Zombeast, and you have to wait. But it does have Echo, so that's the cool thing about it, is you can put out as many of these as... Well, you can put out 3 of them, and
or possibly even leave it at 1 cost. But I feel like discounting the Zombies by 1 is, you're just like getting into some dangerous territory there.
Yeah,
with like what you can do with those zombies is already insane by having 2 mana taken up in that turn. Using the hero power. I mean, once again, I really like the flavor of this. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying, the card is wonderful. I really like the idea about it. It's just, I feel like Craft a Zombies might get a little out of control, like the way that it's currently set up or whatever.
Yeah, I wonder if there's going to be any zombies targets that have Echo. Because
there already is. Actually, I meant to mention that when we were talking about... Here, let me back up. The Mastiff. Actually, I have no idea which one the Mastiff was because of how I named it. So, but anyway, the Mastiff is the 2 mana 2/1 beast, hunter beast with Echo and Rush. So you'll be able, for 2 mana and 2/1 stats, to get Echo and Rush on a Zombeast if that pops up in the pool. Yeah. Which is going to be insane. And then you can start to see how reducing the cost of the Zombeast can start to get really abusable.
Yeah.
With cards like that in the pool, so.
Yeah. But also, awesome submission, as usual.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Up next from Aoricos, we have Phantom Heart, which is a shaman. Wait, no, this is Warlock. Sorry, for some reason I thought this was shaman. Warlock weapon. Which is a 2 mana 0/5 with Echo and Battle Cry to give this weapon +1 attack if you equip a weapon. Actually, you know what? I hadn't read that was initially a Battle Cry at first. Battle Cry, give this weapon +1 attack if you equip a weapon.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure how this worked.
Yeah, because the way that I was initially reading it is that you play this weapon and you get a 0/5 equipped, and then every time you go to equip a weapon, instead this thing just gets +1 attack.
Right, and since it has Echo, you just feed it into itself.
Right, and then you can end up with a 10 mana 5/5, like a 10 mana version of Arcanite Reaper, essentially, which I think that's actually a little underpowered. I think an Echo weapon with some kind of crazy, like, building on itself ability, like putting some kind of crazy blade together, is a really sick idea. I just think that, like, a little things would need to be tweaked about, like, the wording to make it a little stronger. If that is actually how it was intended to work.
Yeah. The only thing that I'm just not sure about is when you equip a weapon, it just destroys your old weapon. So
right, but instead it almost sounds like the reverse is going to happen, and your weapon that you're equipping will be destroyed and like somehow sucked into this to give it +1 attack.
I think it's probably not strong enough.
Yeah, definitely. I'm saying that I like the idea behind it, though.
Yeah,
that's why. Yeah, it just needs to be a little bit like, because we've already seen this kind of effect with the, what was it called, Poison Blade in Rogue,
right?
And it replaced their here, like, you know, Wicked Knifing just buffed that blade, but it ended up being something insane, like total, like I think the Poison Blade itself was like 4 mana, and then of course every dagger up's 2 more mana, and it was something crazy like I don't know, like 8 or 10 mana to make a an assassin's blade. Yeah. You know, and it's just like, wow, like how incredible. So no, I think some version of an echo weapon would be pretty cool, and like kind of turn the whole weapon mechanic, you know, in a different direction. So,
yeah, for sure.
It's a cool idea. So I'm gonna have to do some quick maths here and switch this slide really quickly to Nepeta's actual submission. So everyone just bear with me. Okay, there we go. It's now Ghostly Dragon. And what this does is it's a 4-mana 3/4 dragon with Taunt and Death Rattle. The Death Rattle returns the minion to your hand and gives it Echo. So I like the flavor behind the card of this like undying dragon that's never going to go away. But yeah. I don't know if we disagree with this on this one or not, but I think the fact that it gains Echo when it gets to your hand, and then you can play 2 copies of this, and without some sort of silence or transform effect, it literally never goes away and continuously just grows and grows into more of that individual card, to the point where you could have like 6 of these in your hand, and that gets a little out of control.
Yeah, I think the value is just way too high.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know. I saw this card and I was like, that sounds like something they would make, but just kind of more balanced. Because I mean, you have to silence the first incarnation of it, or silence both of the next incarnations of it if they're in play at the same time.
Right. And basically, once you've hit that point, you're at the level of infinite value, which is something that is a little bit too much for Hearthstone. Yeah,
exactly. So I do really like the combination of abilities. It's understated for 4 mana, and then it goes back to your hand, and then it gains a new ability, which is kind of cool. But yeah, it's just such a wall.
Yep, it's like this becomes more oppressive than something like Voidlord even becomes, you know, because it literally never goes away, can't be stopped. But I do like, there's something there, it's just like something needs to change slightly about it. Right, I don't even know what it is, to be perfectly honest. All right, and last up, this was my personal favorite of this bunch here, from Rents, and it's called Echoing Caves, and it's a rogue card that is a 2-mana epic spell. It says, your next battle cry this turn triggers twice, and it has Echo. It seems like just like this unassuming little card that you don't even really know what you do with it until you like really sit there and think about it. And then like at first I was like, oh, this is too abusable, because you can just cast it a bunch of times and then get like 4 battle cries off of one like Stonehill Defender or something. But that's not the way it's worded. It says your next battle cry this turn triggers twice. So casting the spell more than once before playing a minion doesn't do anything. Yeah. So you would have to like plan out a turn with this in your hand and how much mana you have and the battle cries in your hand, and be like, okay, I'm going to play Echoing Caves. Then I'm going to play Swashbuckler. Then I'm going to play Echoing Caves. And then I'm going to play, I don't know, Face Hunter or whatever. I always want to call it Face Hunter, but what is that thing called? The Rogue Legendary.
Oh, Face Collector?
Yes, Face Collector. You know, and get 2 legendaries off of it, or, you know, there's like a lot that you have to do and like plan for your turn, and like you can abuse the crap out of this thing and get a ton of value.
Yeah, I think this is a super clever card. It just, it takes planning, fits in with like the themes that we've been seeing in this set. Super solid design.
Yep,
I like it. I like it a lot.
I like it a lot. All right, so that was our 6. But we have one more to talk about today because we were going back and forth. Well, it was mainly Dookie, but we were going back and forth with one of our submissions, and we have to set the record straight here on Dougie's submission, Anubis Phantom Guide, which is a 5-mana 5/5, so like, you know, solid stats for 5-drop. With
for sure.
Static ability, the first spell you play each turn has Echo. And what Dookie was pointing out to Dougie is that this is incredibly abusable with any version of the coin. A counterfeit coin, or a coin gotten off of like the new wanted spell, or the coin that you just start with at the beginning of the game. When you play this card on 5 and then you coin, you can play your entire hand. You can do anything. You know, if you have cycle, you can literally do anything that you want to do until you rope.
Yeah, if you have an auctioneer out, you just coin,
right.
eviscerate.
I mean, you can only have
two of them, but
no,
yeah,
like
coin. Yeah,
you're only restricted by the
Leroy, Cold Blood, Deadly Poison. Like just you play your whole deck and just kill your opponent in one turn.
Yeah, or like think of it in a different way. That's like a little bit of a harder combo. Like you could literally cycle your entire deck, coin until you could play Malagos, and then, you know, kill them with fucking spells damage from hand. Like that's all possible. But like an even easier way to think about how abusable this is just think about making like a big rogue and filling the deck with Ysera and Deathwing and just all the biggest cards that you can jam, like a wallet rogue, like all the legendaries. You play this, and whatever's in your hand just gets to be on the board. Like you have infinite mana as soon as you play a coin alongside this. So that's the problem with it. If it had something like the first spell you play that costs 1 or more or 2 or more this turn has Echo, then that's
it's just the coin that that breaks it.
Yeah, like you just play this coin, Ysera, coin, giant, coin.
Yeah.
Like whatever. So
yeah, pretty whack with the coin.
Yeah, that was the problem with it. But so we just wanted to talk about that one, and then so we always do our own challenge as well. So here at the end we have Dookie's up first with Worgen Blackguard.
So I remember a while back when we were talking about that switching attack and health in your hand ability, and I was like, there needs to be a minion where it's good no matter what. Like you might still want the minion to be tailored to a specific situation, but it would help if no matter when you dropped him, it was still solid. So Worgen Blackguard is a warrior card. He's a 4-mana 2/5 taunt rush. Each turn this is in your hand, swap its attack and health.
Right.
So you want a defender, boom, you got a 2/5. You want to take out a minion, you got a 5/2. So he's got the utility, and this is kind of more what I would like to see from those attack and health switching cards, like where it's like actually usable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense for the like taunt and rush mechanics are almost like antithetical to each other, and like a 5/2 rush makes a lot more sense than a 2/5 rush, but a 2/5 taunt makes a lot more sense than a 5/2 taunt.
Yes, so he's got both.
Yeah, exactly. Get you a Worgen who can do both.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, that art was of a Worgen. I figured it should be a tank, like a tank class. So that was a Worgen Death Knight that I found art of. So he looks pretty cool.
Yeah. All right, and then last up, we have mine. Mine's not like super crazy big effect or anything this time. I actually balanced this card around Stonehill Defender and what's the 3/1 charge Wolf Rider. So I made a rush card called Panicked Sentry, and it's a 3-mana 3/1 with rush and battle cry. Discover a rush minion. So basically, because of the fact that this is a rush card instead of a charge card and can't go face, I improved on the Wolf Rider formula, which is the 3-mana 3/1, and hasn't seen play in any recent decks, but used to in old school Face Hunter decks. So basically, in the same way that Stonehill Defender is just straight up better than Silverback Patriarch, then this is just the better version of Wolf Rider. in the same way, it you know, gives you a little value back, discovering another rush minion. So.
Oh yeah.
I feel like this is like more the direction I want to see rush cards go. When I was saying earlier, I feel that they're boring. It's because they're not doing anything more than just rushing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
but this is cool. This is really aggressively establishing board dominance just by giving you these like really good removal. Obviously, this thing's just gonna die instantly.
Exactly. And the flavor of the card is that, you know, they get panicked and rush out into battle, get themselves killed, but like they alerted someone. It's like, oh my god, they're here, they're coming, and there's like, but then they got like their buddy to come too. So
yeah, their buddy will then rush into battle and die as well.
Yes. Infinite value, Panic Sentry into Panic Sentry into Panic Sentry.
Oh yeah, Draconic Opera all over again.
So anyway. Thanks to all of our card submitters. We appreciate you guys. You make the show more fun. It's always fun to see what you guys come up with.
Definitely.
So
I do believe it is your turn this week to come up with the prompt.
Oh God, was that you? I almost felt like that was me that came up with it last time.
Nah, you did odd even. So
I did odd even. You're right.
Yep.
So we have to like be more creative this time because we're out of like Witchwood themed things.
Yeah. Well, I can go ahead and outro. Tell them where they can find us.
Let's do that.
All right, so the best place to see when we're streaming or submit cards to us is Twitter, which is at Salty Dog Podcast. You can also follow me at Dookie Shed, and Clash is at KLASHE_HS. We stream on Tuesdays most of the time. Sometimes Hearthstone, sometimes other games, and we stream on each of our individual channels. This one, twitch.tv/clash_HS and twitch.tv/dookieshed for mine. I usually stream 5 days a week. This week it was a little slow for me, but you can find me streaming quite a bit these days. And if you could give us good ratings wherever you listen to us, give us thumbs up on YouTube, or 5 apples if it's on iTunes, or whatever their rating system is.
5 apple bombs.
And if you can also subscribe to our Twitch channel and get the awesome nice bed emote.
Yes,
so
that's on this channel, and if you show up for our Tuesday streams and you're watching on Dookie's channel, if you sub to him, you get to give him the D. He has a nice D tank.
Yep. there's that nice bed in the chat. Do you have a prompt?
Yeah, I believe I do. It's a little abstract. I'm going to try to form it up, but basically, I think that I've always thought that like interactions with hero powers are really fun, and that's mainly, even though there's like a really high potential of Baku and Gen like not being great, even, you know, like maybe just at the start, but something that synergizes with use of the hero power, whether it's enabling like that one of the cards we saw earlier today, the 3 mana 3/4 that refreshes the hero power, or like a discount of the hero power, like the other card we mentioned with the fencing instructor or whatever that gave you a free hero power. Something that like gives you like some extra bang for your buck. It doesn't necessarily have to be Inspire. I guess it could be. I don't think they're really gonna bring Inspire back, but I do miss it. But in some way, some sort of just like an added bonus or like a discount to using hero power to, like, you know, incentivize you further to use these odd or even decks. I know that's like kind of similar to my last week's, but it's different enough, I think.
Could it change your hero power into something else?
Yeah, it could change it. It could change it. I mean, I think, I don't know. Actually, I want to say no. I want to say no because I want it to synergize with Gen and Baku. Just right off the bat. I mean, okay, so Baku doesn't really do much for you. I was just thinking about this. I was thinking about a Baku mage deck. Having Flame Strike dealing 2 damage is awesome. Or not Flame Strike, Fire Blast, or whatever it's called. But if you make it a Frostlich Jaina deck, who's also an odd card, you lose any benefit that you had from having Baku in your deck, because the Frostlich Jaina power will not do 2 damage.
That's true.
So I would prefer it to be in some way synergizing with your starting hero power after being affected by Gen and Baku.
Okay.
So, it doesn't have to have a like an odd or even like qualification on there. Like you can only play it if it's in an odd deck or something, but it just some way synergizes with the hero power. That was a long-winded one, sorry, but I had a hard
card that synergizes with your hero power.
Basically, with Gen and Baku in mind specifically.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the challenge for next week. You always do a good job of taking my random thoughts and condensing them, so thank you.
Well, you know why I do that? Because I have to tweet it out and I have to put it in the description of the video.
You're always thinking in tweets.
Yeah. So I have to condense it to, you know.
All right, that works. That's solid. So I don't know about you, but wow, 10:30. This is a lot longer than our normal show, and my voice is like dead, and I am tired. So I'm gonna have to say that we're gonna call the show here and not do our post-stream stuff on this day because it's just a little late. But thank you for
maybe Tuesday we can get some of the winners in and play some games of Hearthstone or something.
Yeah, that would be awesome if you guys are able to come out on Tuesday, and we can also revisit older cards from this past segment. If you were wondering why you didn't make it in and stuff, we could also push that off to Tuesday.
Yeah, we can just do our post stream show or post show.
Yes.
On Tuesday.
All right, guys. But thanks again for coming out, and till next time, stay salty.
Stay salty.